Hello, ladies and gentlemen. JB Wins, Dogon SS. We are back once again with another video. Shouts out to everybody out there who has been joining along with us as we continue to crank out this logical content. And if this is the first time that you are catching wind of what we love to do here on this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video as we continue to evolve the production quality of what we do and make certain subtle changes and test things out. We certainly appreciate everybody who appreciates the content and appreciates the channel for what it is, because we certainly appreciate you. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave that comment, let us know what you think, because we certainly appreciate it. Got several interesting topics to talk about tonight as we prepare for the first day of the NBA season, which is kind of exciting. But with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get things kicked off. First thing that we are going to get into is hip hop guy Lil Durk, who has been given not one but two keys to the city in the Chicago area recently. And we've talked about rappers and hip hop figures receiving keys to the city and what that symbolizes, particularly when you juxtapose it to their content. Some people don't think it's a big deal. Others think that it needs to be given a greater look-see. I think we are on the side of individuals who believe it needs to be given a greater look-see. And apparently we are not alone, because there are those who kind of find it questionable that Lil Durk is, being given said keys to the city. So let me make sure I share this tab so that we can get some context here. Sorry about that real quick. My computer gave me a weird message, a weird dialogue, so I had to see what that was about. Sorry guys, I got a new computer over the last week, so I'm trying to get adjusted to the upgrade, and it's taking me some time. So just bear with me as I get used to. I got a whole new interface working here. But so yeah, a lot of people are questioning Lil Durk and his receiving two keys to the city near Chicago. So this says Lil Durk faces backlash for receiving two keys to the city near Chicago. Lil Durk has done a lot for his community, but some folks have an issue with folks giving him credit for his efforts while perhaps downplaying others. If you hadn't heard, he recently received the keys to the city in both Broadview and Bellwood, two villages a few miles outside of the downtown Chicago area, his home city. This is for Smirk's philanthropic efforts through his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation and other initiatives to foster community betterment and impact its citizens in a positive way. While many fans supported and applauded this decision regarding the Deep Thoughts MC, others were more critical of the decision. Y'all give any rappers a key. Why not a teacher, firefighter, doctor, and etc.? One fan posited under the comments section of the Instagram post below. Others criticized the content matter of Lil Durk's more violent and street-centric material, arguing that no city should champion messages like those. This debate isn't exclusive to him, but it does represent the different views about the intersection between hip-hop, the industry, and larger society. In fact, it's part of what's surrounding the lawsuit against Durk and various others from FBG, Duck's mother. Check out the comments under the IG post below to see more reactions to these keys to the city. The article goes on to say, nevertheless, Lil Durk fans have a lot to look forward to in the near future, regardless of their thoughts on this matter. His aforementioned album, Deep Thoughts, may have been delayed, but at least he gave fans the opportunist single to hold them over. Hopefully the LP drops sooner rather than later, and there's plenty of time left in 2024 to work out a release before the year's end. So I'm not going to play this clip from the Shade Room. Well, maybe we'll play this first one, but this gets into him being granted one of those keys to the city.
So I'm gonna let my daughter read it. Come on up, girl. She's a nurse and she's been doing a bunch of stuff in the community. So I'm gonna pass the torch.
On behalf of the Village of Bellwood, we are honored to present this key to the city to Dirk Banks, Neighborhood Heroes. This key is a token of our appreciation for your collaboration and partnership. Thank you.
Okay, so you get the idea. So yeah, there are people who are questioning the value of bestowing an individual such as Dirk with such an honor, given the nature of, I would say, a decent chunk of his musical content. And for anyone who is unfamiliar with Lil Durk's catalog as an artist, I encourage you to go check it out. He is readily available anywhere you listen to your music, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. A decent chunk of his music is glorifying street culture. So take that for what it's worth. But nevertheless, people are kind of starting to call this stuff out, which I thought was rather refreshing. But what do you think about the reaction to Lil Durk being given these 2 keys to the city of Chicago?
Well, I mean, the initial reaction is, what the hell? That's my initial reaction. But, first I want to speak to the Durk defenders, because I'm sure they're going to be trickling in and telling me all the great things that he does for the community. I did find an article here that, just highlighted, some stuff that he does. He does stuff with the youth. He has prayer days and stuff like that with Muslim type of stuff, or I guess Islamic types of things, which is, all great, right? So I'm pretty sure he does other stuff with the youth and his own forms of giving back and connecting with the community that he's from. So, with all of that stuff out of the way, I still find it a bit of a reach. When we're talking about keys to the city, that should be reserved, as that commenter said, for, teachers, doctors, firefighters, first responders, things of that nature, to, things that are, real heroes in the community. Now, I know all the kids well, not all, but most of the kids from where he's from do hold him to a high esteem. They do celebrate him. Everybody knows him, and everybody knows he's from that area. So they do look to him as a hero, but still, I've heard Durk's music. I'm not too much of a fan of it. He does has his introspective type stuff that he speaks of, but he also does a lot of op talk. He does a lot of, I don't know if you want to consider it drill, but maybe some people may classify it as drill. But, even in that event, I don't really care for the topics that he chooses to speak on a regular basis. So, these were the 2 individuals here. Let's see, what are their names? We have Mayor Katrina Thompson and Mayor Andre Harvey. So that's who these 2 people are here. And I feel as though this is a political play overall. I feel as though that this is more of they're using Durk as a pawn for re-elections. And they're putting their political careers over the overall mindset of the people that live in their communities. Because the lifestyle that Durk came from, it was a very tumultuous one. Anybody can do their research if they don't know. This guy had a hell of an upbringing. And, I did celebrate him when he first came out because, well, hell, he made it out of that. But as I mentioned, a lot of his music outside of his introspective stuff, it's a lot of that crazy stuff too. So, in a nutshell, I really feel as though that he's not really the guy to be celebrating like this. Is even though he may have given back and all those types of things, I feel as though this is more of a political play than actually celebrating a hero in the community. And of course, now they've got their public headlines. They've gone national. Nobody's even heard of these two mayors, but here they are on the conscious approach, and that was and that was their intent from the beginning, just to make it on our platform, and they did it. And so re-election may be looking good for these two, especially in that little area. So what are your thoughts on Lil Durk receiving 2 keys, not just 1, 2 keys to the cities? What are your thoughts, man?
Real quick before I get started, I saw your message. So how does my audio sound right now?
A lot more crispy, SI.
It sounds a lot more crispy. All right.
Yeah.
Righteous calls.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this either. I first learned about Lil Durk several years ago, and I was yet another one of those people who were a detractor because I found it difficult to reconcile the good that he does in the community with the kind of content that he puts out musically. I just think that at a certain point, the community at large needs to be more demanding of some consistency from these people. So we talk about Meek Mill often because he's another person to whom this kind of thing applies. Meek Mill can very well be given a key to the city in Philadelphia, right? It's not in and of itself that there is. In my opinion, I'm not a fan. In my advanced age, I just no longer have the ear sensitivity to constantly being given messages about street stuff and op talk and what you're doing, who you serving and who you selling to and who you're willing to shoot. I just don't have a very high tolerance for that kind of stuff anymore. In my youth, I had a higher tolerance for it. So my opinion on the musical aspect of that aside, I've always found it difficult to reconcile how somebody can pray tell to be about bettering their community when their chief export and the thing that they're primarily known for and the thing that they contribute to the world more than anything else on a more consistent basis lends credence to activities that serve as a detriment to the good that they're otherwise doing. And that lack of consistency gives me cognitive dissonance. So bringing it back to Meek Mill, if Meek Mill wants to be at Invest Fest and all of these other public speaking engagements and being invited to speak on behalf of criminal justice reform by people like Robert Kraft, and he wants to talk about how the music industry pays for ignorance and that you earn more being a part of ignorant music making, but you want to be a change agent for positivity in your community, and you want to do these philanthropic things that speak to that. I don't have a problem with that necessarily, but you then can't go back and continue to make Too Good to Be True with Rick Ross talking about, what you're doing in the streets. I feel like at a certain point, you have to walk by sight and by faith, and not just by faith, but not by sight. I don't understand this. Like, I don't see how you can continue to musically do the street stuff, but still do the good things in your community. But one of the issues that I have with hip hop at large is that there is a lack of accountability afforded to the artists. There's this sense of you can do and say whatever you want in your music, and we'll ignore the impact of it so long as you are at least giving something back, even if you're doing more harm than good through your music. And I think that at a certain point, we're going to have to request that consistency. So if people like Meek Mill and Durk want to continue to be street rappers, I think you have to be a little more tact and quiet with how you go about doing your philanthropic work. Because to me, I can't reconcile the inconsistency when you decide that you want to help your community, but then you also arguably do more harm than good given the content of your music. And these days, it isn't just music, it's also entertainment. My dad is a big fan of the power shows.
It's
And
terrible.
so, and so every now and again, I'll walk by the TV when he's watching the one that recently ended. I'm not sure. Somebody help us out in the comments. One of the power shows recently ended. I forget which one. And Dirk was on the show. It was like his first acting gig or whatever. I don't know if it was his first acting gig, but he was on the show. And what was his role? As like he was like a guest character, kind of. He didn't really have a main focus. He was kind of a shoe-in type of character.
Yeah,
But
book two, Ghost.
okay, that's what it's called, Book Two Ghost. So he was a guest star in Book Two Ghost. And what is his character doing in Book Two Ghost? Some of the people in the show, he's a part of their family or their unit or whatever. And they need to ride out on some chick who's, she's like the queen bee and she's running the city. And they're trying to get rid of her to make room for their operation. And Dirk is a part of the crew, running up in a lady house with automatic rifles, shooting and killing people. So my thing is, I get it. It's all entertainment, and we all love watching these shows. And we can go on and on talking about the palpability of that kind of programming on the subconscious mind. You like to speak to that all the time. And look, man, it's entertainment, it's TV, it's whatever. I don't watch that. I don't watch too much of that. But if other people want to watch it, that's fine. The crux of my main issue is that's the kind of entertainment or content that you, Dirk, want to be a part of. I would imagine he got to live his dream out playing that street character who's running up in there shooting people, running up on his ops and shooting people. So you relished the opportunity to play that kind of character. But then you also get keys to the city because of the philanthropic work that you do in the community. I find that to be highly inconsistent. And it might be a high bar, maybe I'm being unreasonable, and it's a bit highbrow to ask that your content be consistent with what you do off the field, off the court, out of the studio. But I think at this point in time, principle and standards have to matter. And if the standard needs to be raised, then so be it. The standard needs to be raised. If you're going to be someone who is honored to be given the key to any community, any city, I feel as though your export artistically should at least somewhat mirror the kind of work that you're doing in the community. And I find it hard to accept the fact that somebody can be given an honor of that magnitude when you juxtapose it to that kind of content that they put out on a regular basis. But I appear to be alone in maintaining that request because apparently I'm just blowing smoke, and you can do both. I don't agree with that. I think it needs to be one or the other. If you're going to be a philanthropic, member of the community, being a change agent and doing good, I think that your artistic export needs to at least be a decent enough departure from what you used to do and needs to be more closely aligned with what you're currently doing in person. And in my opinion, Dirk falls short of that. All you have to do is listen to his recent album. It's a lot of street stuff, a lot of banging stuff, a lot of drill stuff. And, I think there's accountability to go around on all fronts for this. Dirk himself obviously is the chief culprit, I believe. But then, like I said, there's also the hip hop listening community at large who never seems to care about holding any artist accountable for anything. It's just they make their music, they can do what they want, say what they want, put out whatever they want. But let's excuse it because it's life, it's the reality. Those are the streets. They speak for the people. So it's okay because look at the good they're doing. And to your point, and I can't disagree, you also have actual community leaders who capitulate to this dynamic in order to curry favor for the community that actually does enjoy this kind of content. That actually makes a lot of sense because if you're looking to get reelected, if you're looking to raise your Q rating, especially if you're a Black elected official, it serves you well to be looked upon favorably by some of these rappers and hip hop people. So that actually is a good point. I didn't think of that angle, but it certainly is valid. Moreover, I don't think that there is a problem with more sternly demanding for some consistency between what these people do uh, when their boots are on the ground and the kind of content that they put out. Because believe it or not, whatever he does with his Neighborhood Heroes initiative, I'm pretty sure it does a lot of good with respect to those individual communities. But his music is far more wide ranging, and it touches a lot more people through their headphones and through however they stream their music. And so, in my opinion, that has a greater impact than what he does in Chicago. And so, it is what it is. I'm just saying, can we have some consistency with these guys? But maybe I'm crazy for asking for that.
Well, I mean, to speak on your point, you're talking for the most part, here at least at the Conscious Approach, we really don't separate entertainment and I don't want to say, I would say engineering, social engineering. So but these politicians and anybody that agrees with him getting keys to the city would say that, hey man, that's just entertainment. What he says on a microphone is just entertainment. He's not out here shooting people for real. And on Power, book 2, he's playing a character, that authentically represents my community. But he's not actually doing that stuff for real. If he was, he'd be in jail. So let the man entertain. And while he's entertaining at his day job, his 9 to 5, if you will, then he comes home and he takes his riches and he shares it with the community. What's the big deal with that? At least he's giving back to our community. This is the logic that they want us to think. And they want us to believe that there's a separation there. But to me, there is none. Because there's a lot of young people that are from his community that do look up to Durk and they want to be Durk. And him getting keys to the city validates that. And so now they think they can go do what Durk did, talk about what Durk talks about, and the cycle continues. And so for me, I do have a problem with this overall. And I feel as though these politicians should know better. I would assume they're educated, and I would assume that they would want the best for their communities. But this play here to me looks more like I said, a selfish play by the both of them. And to me, this is like, I want to save my career. I want to get boosted up. I want to be on the next level. How do I get my name out there? How do I be bigger than the mayor of Bluffstown? I ain't trying to talk down on your name. Whatever the town name is, I'm out. How do I get bigger than that? And that's all this is to me. And like I said, they're just using Lil Durk as a pawn, and they're using everybody in the community that's down for this as fools. So me personally, I don't go for this. This is why I don't trust politicians. They could have elevated somebody that actually did, go into a burning building and save the babies. They could have gave that guy the key to the city, or that woman a key to the city, but they chose not to because there's no publicity behind that. And so giving Lil Durk the thing, hey man, we have a local celebrity here. How do that's all it is. So nice try, but they're not pulling this fast one on me. And it sounds like they're not pulling a fast one on the internet either. And so for, this isn't, Lil Durk should get backlash for talking how he talks. But honestly, he's just a recipient of something that somebody's given him. So I wouldn't really give the backlash so much to Lil Durk. I would give it to these 2 mayors who should know better, who are well behind his age, at least double his age. And they should be looking out for the betterment of the future generations of their community. But instead, they rather look out for the betterment of their own careers. So I'm not falling for it. And I don't think other people should fall for politicians who play us like this. And to me, this is no different than Jive Talk BET stuff that they just slam in our face. And yeah, these people don't know no better. And I'm not with it. So yeah, so my beef isn't so much with Lil Durk. I do think he needs to clean up his act. But if you heard what this guy came from, he's traumatized, so he's gonna talk like that. But these two people here, these two educated, upward mobile African Americans, I expect more from them than this. So tisk tisk on these two, and these are the ones that I'm calling out, and a lower tier call out for Dirk because he's rubbed enough elbows, he talked to enough people, you know, he's choosing to make the goofy stuff that he's making at this point in his life. But yeah, man, that's how I feel about this, bro.
Yeah, I understand that, and I don't give as much of a. I hear what you're saying, but I personally do not give as much of a pass to Dirk because you know what that represents.
Yo, yeah.
So he has knowledge of what. Yeah, I hear you on the trauma part, and I agree 100%. But these guys are still intelligent human beings,
They are.
and he knows what that kind of thing represents, and he knows that he can, despite that, continue to do what he wants because he won't be held accountable for it. Because this, we do have a culture in which there is a separation of church and state, if you will, when it comes to this music from civic stewardship. What I am saying is that separation needs to go away. It needs to cease to exist. Now, to be for the record of full transparency, I've always been the kind of guy who says, let's look at pro athletes, for example. Let's look at Deshaun Watson, right?
Hell no.
Like, I've always been the guy who says, hey, man, what he did allegedly sucks, but let's separate that from what he does on the field, and don't throw dirt on him as a don't throw dirt on him as a performing athlete because of your personal feelings towards what he did. In other words, I've always separated performance from transgressions off the field or off the court or whatever. Now, perhaps Deshaun Watson is a bad example because he came back and played bad. But you've had a lot of pro athletes who've done questionable things, gone back to work, continue to perform at a high level, but they get a lot of flack because of what they did, off the court or off the playing field. And I've always said, well, let the two remain separate. This is different because to me, this music stuff is largely gleaned not as entertainment, but as reality for a decent portion of the community who listens to it. And so I think from that standpoint, we need to get rid of that separation of church and state. It should no longer exist. There should no longer be that kind of delineation. I do not believe that you can make street music for the most part, but then also, pray tell to be a civic leader and then get rewarded for it. But it's tough. It's a tough line to toe, but that's just kind of how I see this one all the way around. I hold the elected officials responsible. I hold him responsible, and I hold hip hop as an entity at large responsible because no one ever holds these artists accountable for anything. They can say and do whatever they want when it comes to their music, but then talk about all the good that they do and the positive influence that they have on the streets. But like I said before, in my opinion, their chief artistic export, aka their music, has a far more wide-reaching, influential role to play with respect to how it influences the minds and hearts of people. And it's more wide-reaching than what goes on in these two towns in Chicago. I don't know the specific populations of those two communities, but his music touches millions of people. Whereas what he does philanthropically in those neighborhoods probably touches thousands. So the math ain't mathing from my standpoint when it comes to that. And I don't think that there's a problem with demanding a little more consistency.
No, there's no problem at all. So, we'll see how this pans out. We'll see if he keeps catching heat for this. Most likely it'll go away after a couple of weeks. And as far as these politicians, They're gonna be heralded as heroes in their own community for raising up Dirk. Hey, that's the guy that gave Dirk key to the city. Hey, that's the lady that gave Dirk to the city, key to the city. I'm gonna vote for her again. And that's the play, man. So hopefully our people grow up in the sense where they can actually see how these people play us and stop playing their little games. Because to me, this was all game. And I agree with you 1000%. Because the latter portion of what I was saying was, he Dirk has grown up. He not that little kid that first came out. And like I said, he done rubbed enough elbows, talked to enough people. And from the looks of it, he's Muslim. So all that haram he talks about in his bars, he needs to stop doing that as well. So he should know better, and he needs to do better. So this whole situation to me, it doesn't pass the sniff test. And everybody here, they're getting reprimanded by me. So
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't like it, but yeah, I don't think there's right now. There is no standard. So
no, not at all.
The next rapper who makes this kind of questionable content will get rewarded just the same as the last one. So,
hey, bro, we're setting the standard here, bro.
Yeah. All day. Shouts out to Chicago, baby.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into LeBron, who, LeBron, publicly, I can't think of one time where LeBron was really getting raked through the coals, other than China. I think a few years ago, he stepped his feet in mud when it came to China, and he had to bend the knee. Other than that, LeBron has never really been a backlash kind of person. He pretty much toes the company line. He's like the NBA's Tom Brady. He doesn't really get controversial unless he knows he's going to be applauded for it. So he'll get on his social justice high horse because he knows that most people are going to agree with that. But otherwise, he kind of stays out the way. Until now, when he put out a tweet welcoming home Big Meech. And not a lot of people are happy about this. A lot of people are, kind of clowning LeBron for getting onto his social media platforms and welcoming home a guy who, similar to the last topic that we did, depending on your opinion and your perspective, did a lot of harm for the community. So this says LeBron James under fire for celebrating Big Meech's prison release. Earlier this week, Big Meech was released from prison after spending almost 2 decades behind bars. Reportedly, the Black Mafia family founder will stay at a halfway house until 2026, when he'll begin serving 5 years of supervised release. TMZ reports that he must take part in a substance abuse program, which could potentially include drug and alcohol testing. As expected, countless social media users have weighed in on Big Meech's release, and many are celebrating it. Sexy Red, Rick Ross, Boosie Badass, none of those names should come as a surprise, and more have shared positive reactions to the news in recent days. Yesterday, LeBron James even took to Twitter/X to respond. Welcome home, Big Meech, he wrote. This has earned the athlete some backlash, however, as some users argue that celebrating a former drug kingpin's freedom sends the wrong message. So there you can see the tweet right there. The article goes on to say, glorifying the wrong people, one replies. Welcome home, a murderer, killer of kids through drugs, killer of countless mothers, fathers, and families. You want to fit in so bad, want to be hip and cool so bad that you just follow whatever is deemed cool at the moment. Shame on you. Grow the F up. Another writes, clearly it's up for debate whether or not Big Meech's release is something to celebrate. However, to his lawyer, Brittany K. Barnett, he's turned over a new leaf. I'm overjoyed that Demetrius Flannery is finally free after 20 years behind bars. 2 decades is an incredibly long time, and it's been inspiring to witness the couple of hope. And it's been inspiring to witness the power of hope and resilience, she told Hot 97 this week. He used his time in prison to focus on personal growth and transformation, and now he has the opportunity to begin a new chapter. So Not a lot of people are appreciative of the fact that LeBron James joined in the chorus to celebrate Big Meech's release from prison. What do you think about LeBron celebrating Big Meech's release, and what do you think about those who had something to say about it?
First, my first thoughts is, hey guys, hit the like and subscribe. We do this every Tuesday. Join the party, join the live. Drop some comments as we go live because we'd love to hear y'all's feedback on these topics as we go along. But I guess LeBron thinks I guess he thinks he's Big Meech or Larry Hoover. I guess he thinks he's part of the rap game. I guess he thinks he's BMF. But when you dig back into LeBron's history and you see how he came about, this shouldn't serve too much as a surprise. Now, when he first got into the game, he was still in high school. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, chosen one, right? And he got it tatted on his back, came in the NBA and, took off running, hanging out with the likes of Jay-Z, the Diddler, and I think he also hung out with Big Meech. Allegedly, at least from what I hear, he went to a party or two, or he took a picture or something like that with Big Meech. So, LeBron is the industry. He's the industry personified. And when you say he totes the company line, he doesn't just tote the NBA company line. He totes the industry company line. When it comes to, for instance, the whole China thing, like you brought up, even when he was doing that, he was doing a company line. For the, and when the streets, ripped into him, then yeah, of course he had to, back up off of that. But that was him doing company line stuff. When Kyrie had his little faux pas, if you want to call it a faux pas, here comes LeBron unmuting and throwing Kyrie under the bus. Company line stuff. With all of this stuff swirling around with there's no party like a Diddy party, and all of this mayhem happening with allegations and stuff, he's quiet as a bird, or as a mouse, I guess. And he's super quiet about stuff like that, but he'll unmute and say other things. We're going to cover the WNBA thing that happened in the finals. He wants to unmute about that and talk about that. He wants to talk about Big Meech coming home, but he doesn't talk about stuff out there that's really swirling around his own name. Allegations of PEDs, allegations of him hanging out and actually being at Diddy parties. There's a New York NYPD dude, a cop, who he said that, hey man, we know for sure he was at those functions. He used to go to those parties. We know that. So LeBron picks and chooses, but my whole point of saying all of that stuff is he's a company man when it comes to the industry. And so part of him toting the company line is welcoming home Big Meech. Now that stuff in the article where they're saying that, hey man, he's been locked up for 2 decades or almost 2 decades, and he's turned over a new leaf, and he paid his debt to society basically and all of that stuff. Hey, that's great, but that's not how he's being celebrated. Exactly. That's not how his name was being circulated for the last 2 decades.
Exactly. Yes.
So his name was being celebrated as that of a drug kingpin. One of the biggest, baddest guys around. Talk about BET and stuff like that, where they have actual documentaries about people like Big Meech, and they celebrate them. No wonder Durk got keys to the city. So it's that company line stuff. That stuff that keeps us in this perpetual cycle. So just like how I was throwing stones at those 2 mayors, LeBron gets the same kinds of stones because he should know better. What makes this even corny is the salute afterwards. You saluting this man? For what? The guy that has a school called I Promise that's supposed to be getting kids out of these types of circumstances, but you're celebrating a man who did those circumstances historically. People that still live in that lifestyle still hold him up as a street Jesus, as a prophet of selling cocaines. Of course, Rick Ross said, "Welcome home." Of course, Boosie Badass said, "Welcome." And of course, Sexy Red said, "Welcome home." So LeBron, a man that's supposed to be, the role model, the super role model for all the young youth growing up wanting to get out of the streets. Are you in the same class as those people? Yeah, I mean, he would tell us that he's not. He would tell us that he's clean cut and never did no wrong, man. But when you're part of the industry and you're toting that company line, he has to do his job to make sure we stay in this goofy little cycle. So yeah, I'm not going for this. I am with the internet. When I first saw this, I just laughed like, what a wannabe clown. And I'm glad nobody's going for it. And even I've seen people that even defend LeBron all the time. They said it in the comment section in some videos, and they say, "Hey, look, I go to bat for LeBron all the time, and I can't even go for this," and rightfully so. So yeah, LeBron, keep tweeting, keep telling on yourself, because I'm quite frankly here to enjoy it. But what are your thoughts on Sir LeBron James, some people's king out here, celebrating Big Meech coming home? What are your thoughts, man?
A lot of people's king. He's a lot of people's king.
Hey, none of mine.
Yeah. I don't have too much to add to what you said. I co-sign all of that 100%. LeBron is a hip hop kid. LeBron is a hip hop kid through and through. So, he's in our generation. LeBron is barely a year older than me. Like, we're the same age essentially. So we grew up late 80s into the 90s. We're a part of the same era where, the conditioning of hip hop as such that it's the synonymous representation of the authentic Black condition really took hold with our generation, and he's a part of that. So ever since he's been onto the scene, he's championed the music. He runs in the same social circles, but oftentimes when he does post onto his socials, he's listening to some rapper, rapping along to some of the lyrics and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll bring that up to say that he's very much ingratiated with hip hop culture, both as a consumer of it and in terms of actually rubbing elbows with the people who are practitioners of it. He's a part of the industry from that standpoint, but he's also a consumer because he loves to listen to it. And just like you alluded to that quote, authentically representing these communities. Just like 50 Cent can say that his power shows authentically represent Black and Latino communities, and he really believes that. He's not just saying it to say it, he really believes that. LeBron is probably someone who believes that rap and hip hop authentically represents the Black experience. He believes that. So if you are someone who believes that, and the celebration of people like Big Meech is very much a part of the tapestry of that music, then he would also be consistent in celebrating the release or the good fortunes of an individual who is a part of the tapestry of that music. So honestly, I wasn't surprised to hear him do this, albeit I do find it to be very clownish. And, it isn't that as you said, it isn't as though LeBron said something to the effect of, "Welcome home, Big Meech. I'm glad that you had the time and the opportunity to rehabilitate yourself. Looking forward to this next chapter in your life," or something to that effect.
Yeah.
It was about "Welcome home, Big Meech. We want to welcome home the conquering hero who did his bid, and now he's been released." I would imagine he also thinks that he was done wrong by the system. and that he was incarcerated for a little too long and been given too harsh a punishment, right? So all the way around, I don't like any of this. It smells rotten. But again, when it comes to the intersection of hip hop and life and reality, there is no separation of content from responsibility. We lump it all in until it's just this large, gooey amalgamation of anything goes. So you can be philanthropic, but then put out an album where every song is about street stuff. That's okay because we don't care. You can talk about the good that you want to do in your community, and you can do speaking engagements at forward-thinking conferences talking about the problems with the music industry, but then you get right back to making the kind of music that you said the music industry profits off of, and that being a negative thing, because no one's going to say, hey, stop, we need to check you on this, because that's no longer going to fly. You need to be more consistent with this. And LeBron's a part of that. So the internet thankfully checked him on that.
Yes.
But the circles that he runs with, he's falling right in line with Sexy Reds and the Rick Ross and anybody else who says it's great that you've come home. Because again, we're not celebrating the fact that he is perhaps rehabilitated and therefore going to do something different to impact others and be a contributing member of society. This is all about look at what you was doing and how you was living 20 years ago. And that was so inspiring. So I'm glad you're home because you are an inspiration for the rest of us, given what you used to do and the life that you used to live. And yeah, a part of that does rub me the wrong way because I don't appreciate the kind of implicit message that sends to others who are perhaps on the fences, teetering with respect to whether this is something that needs to be emulated or not. And when you have someone who is as important as him, LeBron, the king, chosen one, greatest player of all time, greatest player of all time, all this other stuff that people say, as influential a voice as he does have, because every time he says something, people want to talk about it. I think that it's walking a fine line in terms of the potential perpetuation of certain tropes based upon your endorsement of this kind of thing. So I didn't like it, but I'm also not surprised. This is the hip hop community speaking up for one of its champions.
Yeah, agreed, man. And one thing that we have to look at when we're dealing with these athletes, professional athletes, and entertainers, they all fit in the same bucket of master distractors. And as you mentioned, whenever LeBron even tweets something, the world goes crazy. Over here, what we're doing is when we're covering stuff like this, is that we're balancing out the chaos, I would say, whenever LeBron does anything. But nevertheless, it's still serving as a distraction. The sport itself serves as a distraction. Because if these athletes that even attempt to try to make it into the league actually use that level of dedication, that level of work ethic towards STEM research, we would be flying out of the laboratory. All right, our beaker game is going to be crazy. All right, working triple beams, not like Big Meech. Okay, and the world would be a lot different. But we have these athletes and entertainers here to chuck and jive to distract us. And LeBron is a master distractor, if you ask me. And so him being the chosen one is deeper than him being the chosen one in basketball, if you ask me as well. That big old tattoo on his chest is actually, with that little lion man or whatever, that's a boule tattoo. He didn't go to no college or university in order to be Phi Sigma, whatever the hell it is. But he's boule. And their job is to distract our community. All right. So that's the Tyler Perrys. That's the Oprah Winfreys. That's the people who Kamala Harris goes and visit and talk to. The Black Caucus. All of these things that's here to serve to distract us. And so LeBron James is that. getting fat off the riches of being a distraction for our community. Even in the past, he was praising King Von. He's got a tweet out there he called himself LeBron James. Yeah. Now everybody knows King Von was a menace and a serial unaliver. And then here comes LeBron James praising this man, no different than he's praising Big Meech. I think LeBron James has other things in mind for our community other than the uplifting of it. I think his job is to serve as a distraction to our people and get them invested in stuff that doesn't serve us. He's another person that is in very high circles, rubs elbows with people who do know better, but then he talks to us with this rapper mindset. I'm not going for it. And I've never went for it. I don't think it's due to his own ignorance. I think it's intentional. And the league lets him get away with the PEDs and all of the stuff that he's obviously on because he's the only distraction. They've been looking for a LeBron replacement for the longest. Hadn't found one yet.
Yeah, they can't find him.
Can't find one. So that's why he's still out here until he's going to be 43 years old. And so I already know what his job is because it ain't no party like a Diddy party. And he was in those circles and he was doing all of that madness. But his name's not going to come up in anything. So he's still going to be around for the next few years to keep doing garbage like this. So, yeah, LeBron, I'm not going for this. He can say that this was just an innocent tweet and people reading too much into this. But again, when you're somebody that has the level of social control, hell, media control, as this man does, I would be more inclined to use that for the upliftment of our people. You know what all your I promise stuff, and all of your other social justice initiatives that you like to talk about. But then you want to turn around and say garbage like this. So yeah, man, not going for it. And this is why, if anybody say, "Oh, you're a LeBron hater," or you always hate on LeBron, this is why. Because of this character that goes around doing this stuff, and it ain't basketball. So yeah, man, not going for this. You know what I'm saying? Big Meech, he served this time, he did whatever, that's fine, whatever. But you know what I'm saying, people can celebrate that, the people that's close to him or whatever, that's happy to have him home. That's one thing. But this whole thing where LeBron's out here raising up this man, but don't raise up anybody else, can't go for it, man. So yeah, LeBron kick rocks, bro.
Well, part of the mind fudge is that in his mind, when he says "Welcome home, Big Meech," he is uplifting our community. Yeah, so right. That's the part. That's the aspect of this that is a true and in fact mind fudge. Is these individuals are heralded as heroes who are coming home as conquering. They're coming home as conquering heroes. And, therefore they are celebrated. And the reason why they are perceived to be that way is because their namesakes are woven into the tapestry of hip hop culture. And hip hop culture, as you and I very well know, has become corporately synonymous with the Black existence. So because this thing that we call hip hop now, which has been bastardized for the last 20 to 30 years, has become synonymous with has become synonymous with the Black existence, with Black reality. And these figureheads are heralded as heroes within the context of that music. Him speaking in that way is his way of momentarily getting on Twitter to do something positive and uplifting for the community. Let's all join together in welcoming home this person. And again, this is less about Big Meech himself and more about the mentality and the thought process behind why you would tweet such a thing.
Agreed.
And again, because there is an absence of accountability when it comes to anything hip hop related, people like him can tweet this kind of stuff and not get called out, at least not publicly outside of the internet. So that's the danger inherent in this kind of thing is we talk about how he needs to spotlight people who are actually doing good. But in his mind, he is spotlighting somebody who did good. That's the true tragic irony inherent in this entire story is he believes as though he is uplifting the community by doing this. And here's the thing. Here's food for thought for LeBron and people and anybody else like him. If you want to tweet out "Welcome home, Big Meech," whatever, I ain't gonna hold you. I don't have the power to. You're LeBron. He could probably silence me if he knew who I was and was talking like this if he wanted to. So, so my thing is counterbalance your tweets welcoming home Big Meech with, talking glowingly about what people like Jaylen Brown do, because he's actually doing things that are going to positively impact his community, and is not wasting too much of his time on social media celebrating the release of drug dealers who did wreck families within his own community. Agreed. At one point or another. So even if you wanted to play this role where you're the basketball savant personality / speaker of your community, and you want to big up people like Meech, then also big up people like Jaylen Brown. Why don't you talk about people like Killer Mike, who's actually in the local politics and understands this stuff and speaks intelligently about some of the things that it takes in order to help his people, something that LeBron doesn't do. So, well, in my opinion, he doesn't do that. But we can't even get that. And there's no requirement on his part to do it because, again, there's an absence of accountability. But hopefully, as time continues to progress, that high standard that I think needs to be had, that high standard that I am demanding of, that I think it's absolutely necessary when it comes to the consistency between what somebody does on and off their field of play, will come to fruition at some point. And the chorus of people screaming that comments like this are clownish will get louder as a result. I can only hope for that. That's my biggest hope.
Yep. So hey, we'll see how this pans out, man. But me personally, I'm enjoying the grilling that he's catching for this. He's said and done other things in the past that I was hoping he'd catch flack for. Didn't think this would be the one, but I'm glad people are unmuting and getting at him because there is a standard out here. We're setting a bar, and I'm glad people out there were actually calling him out, telling him to grow up. He is 40, you know what I'm saying? 39ish, turning 40. He's 40, and he should know with with 3 kids or whatever he's got going on. He should know better. So tighten up, bro.
These guys want to be rappers so bad. It's funny. Yeah, they want to be rappers so bad. You can just hear it in the way they talk. They wish that, like they want to be rappers real bad. They really do. But yeah, I like the fact that there was at least enough people who were not appreciative of that kind of thing, because it just needs to stop. It needs to stop. Like the double talking with these people needs to stop. We hero worship them enough, and we've assigned them so much influence rather, that their words carry weight, and therefore the things they say are important and need to be dissected with a fine-tuned comb. And you can't allow this kind of stuff to persist without them getting checked on it. I don't believe that those days are over. So I'm glad that somebody said something about this, or a lot of people said something about it.
Yep, 1,000. And let us know down in the comment section, y'all. What are your thoughts? Do you feel as though LeBron crossed the line there? You feel as though this was not his place to be welcoming home Big Meech, or you feel like it's all overblown and somebody came home and that's worth celebrating? Let me know, please. I would love to hear it.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy,
we got to get into this. So, yeah, man. I'm gonna just get right into this. These two people to me are individually not as important as what is happening with this situation represents.
Agreed.
So, Safaree, who had a tumultuous relationship with reality TV chica Erica Mena. I remember her from the Love and Hip Hop. I think it was the New York shows from like over 10 years ago. This chick has got skin in the game extensively. And apparently behind the scenes, things have been real ugly between the two of them, and he's trying to get his child support payments adjusted due to his change in income, and they're going through trying to come up with a co-parenting situation that's amicable. But according to him, and the evidence in his favor is quite damning, if you ask me, such a thing is not feasible because of her abusive nature. And he got so fed up with the situation that he got on his YouTube channel to talk about this for a 30-minute video where he laces clips of her being unhinged throughout the video and just trying to give people a glimpse into what goes on between the two of them when it comes to like the kids and this whole situation at large. So this says Safaree gets attacked by Erica Mena in shocking security footage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit of this just to kind of set the stage. And then I'm going to play 2 clips from the video that he put out, because that should give us all the context that we need. So Safaree Samuels and Erica Mena have never had the smoothest relationship. The Love and Hip Hop stars have made drama part of their brand for years. The drama, however, has gotten increasingly serious in the past few weeks. Safaree shocked social media followers when he leaked security footage in which Mena gets physically violent with him. The security footage was cobbled together from different times, and one of the incidents appears to have taken place in front of their children. The footage shows Erica Mena shoving Safaree and breaking property inside their home. The latter felt that he needed to share the footage in order to properly illustrate to the public what he's been dealing with. Blah, 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 blah. He claimed he should have been more aware of Erica Mena's anger issues well before they started a family together. Yes, he should have. The latest spat between Safaree and Erica Mena stemmed from child support payments. Safaree sends Mena a request to get his monthly payments lowered from $4,000. The producer also demanded that Mena help to pay off some of his legal fees. He argued that he makes less money than he did when the initial child support amount was agreed upon. Furthermore, Safaree claimed that he watched his children an estimated 3 to 4 weeks at a time instead of the prescribed 12 days. Erica Mena did not take to this request positively. The Love and Hip Hop star proceeded to drag Safaree for trying to lower his monthly payments. She also posted a calendar that allegedly showed the amount of days that Safaree had spent with their children in the past year. Mena posits that the number is significantly lower than the producer suggested. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the video itself. And of course, all relevant links will be in the description of this video in case you want to check that out in greater detail and watch the whole thing. Of course, we don't have the time to play the whole thing. So I'm just going to play 2 different clips from 2 different points of the video. So here's the first one.
Somebody wants to have full control of every single thing and they can't have control, it's just not going to be a easy transition, especially when, the other person is just used to it being one way or very controlling or still wanting the whole family dynamic, and it's not there anymore. But I love my kids. And it's gotten to the point that I have to put myself first, because I'm either going to end up in jail or worse, because I'm dealing with someone whose anger management is just non-existent. All
right, and then I'm going to skip a little further down, right? So this is where he kind of ends the video, but then the video itself ends with footage of her essentially breaking into his property. She goes and finds a ladder to climb over his fence or his gate, to bang on his window to try to get his attention. And then it's an even longer look into her destroying some of the property in his home.
To me, and this is not to bash, this is just the truth. This is just what it is. So that narrative that everyone just thinks is so cool to run, like you use common sense. If I haven't seen my kids, there is a reason. And this is the reason. You're going to see it. You're going to see everything.
Fair use. Oh man. Unbelievable. Then the jog. Man, oh man.
I mean, it just reeks of unhinged. It's just,
Yeah, that's putting it lightly, bro. Oh man.
so now, yeah, you see her being a little too aggressive with him. He's trying to avoid the situation. He's calling the police, and
In front
she's
of the
kind of
youngins too, man.
insisting.
Hey man. Man, he's lucky he had a security camera hooked up.
Oh, it's a must. It's a must. And now here she goes. She just goes ham on some of his personal property.
I mean, I wouldn't buy a table like that. But you know what I'm saying? It's all right. And the ruthlessness about it is she doesn't even care that the kids are seeing this.
Right.
That's the real sick part about all of this.
All right, so there you have it, man. You know, we'll see how this situation inevitably plays out, obviously, but that didn't look too good. I'm perusing through the comments of that video, and there's people who are basically saying they're both clout chasers and they're both responsible, and we don't know what he did, and blah 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 blah. But we don't have any video evidence of what he did, right? But we do have video evidence of her unhinged behavior.
Correct.
And I'm gonna let you go ahead and get started. But the key for me is his admission of the fact that he should have not ignored certain signs.
Yes.
I think that's the crux of this whole thing here.
Agreed.
But I'll let you go ahead and get started, man, because I think that is very damning in terms of what we just saw there with how she carried herself in those clips.
Yeah, man, and that was well put when we first started the video of this, in the sense that these two are just an archetype of what goes on in these relationships, these types of relationships, where a guy, and we'll keep it in the context of the guy because this is where we're at, but where a guy ignores the red flags, all right, because it looks like and it sounds like she's had several, and he chose to ignore them, for whatever reasons that they were. He kept stating that he felt like, you know what I'm saying, since he's a chill dude or whatever, like, she ain't never had nothing like this before or whatever, so I'm gonna show it away. But there is no changing people. How you met them is how you lose them. And those red flags, they may lie dormant for a season or two, but that is who that person is, and they will spring up again. And so it's only a matter of time that they're going to spring up on your ass. And you go, hey man, I'm so chill, I'm so cool, like I wouldn't even give this person reason to, get crazy on me. But the thing is that they go crazy if they haven't gone crazy. So in this situation here, Safaree learned firsthand that you don't ignore those apparent signs that this person is unhinged. Because, throughout the video, he was pretty much alluding to the fact that he kind of knew that she could be like this. But he was like, nah, whatever. And of course, that was before the kids got involved. But then, here we are. And as I mentioned, man, I don't know how to feel about having, cameras in my house. But in situations like this, man, you're glad you got them, because these are the ones that go left. She could have had her own narrative going, press charges on him, say that he was hitting her, and he would have been the scum of the earth. But in this situation here, there's clear and obvious evidence, if you ask me, of somebody that's trying to de-escalate a situation and somebody that's trying to escalate one. These types of women love to poke the bear. They love to press these buttons. They try to get in domestic situations. If Safaree had less self-control, she would have got hit. And then, Safaree would have been the monster, the woman beater. So, way to keep your cool in that situation. Way to call the cops in that situation. And way to have security footage. In this situation here, for him airing this out on the internet, his life is internet. His life is this stuff. He would be losing out on money if he was the crazy abusive person. So for him to be airing this stuff out, one could holler is for clout, but this is his career. I'm not justifying him living a life, full of mess, but why wouldn't you also air this out to clear your name? Because your name is how you're going to keep making money in the future. So, yeah, man, this is a cautionary tale for anybody out there that's dealing with these red flag people. And as I mentioned, those red flags are not going anywhere. I don't care how cool, how calm, and how trill you think you are. You will not remove those flags. And as the old adage goes, man, you can't turn an alley cat into a house cat. I'll say that. But what are your thoughts, bro, on Safaree getting into an entanglement with this unhinged woman? What are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah. Obviously, personal responsibility has to be maintained. So let me get that out of the way first. I am not absolving Erica Mena for her behavior. Everyone is responsible for their actions. You do not put hands. Everybody everyone should keep their hands to themselves. I know in the wake of the social justice revolution of America, it became very apparent that there's all of these men who are woman beaters all over the place and abusers, and women are just victims of men's abuse all the time. But despite that, everyone should keep their hands to themselves. Everybody. Yeah. So from the standpoint of everyone needing to keep their hands to themselves, she is to be held entirely responsible for that. However, Safaree, this is mostly your fault. And look, man, I get it. She's got the pretty face. She's got the long pretty face. She's got the long silky hair. She's got the ample backside. She has the nice skin complexion. And so as a result of her presenting herself with that kind of package, he, to his own admission, ignored what were obvious warning signs
Yes.
that she has a propensity for volatile behavior.
Yes.
I believe that if you ignore signs like that, what comes afterwards is something that you could have prevented but chose not to. And the overall lesson to be had from this particular situation is the value of men exhibiting proper judgment and not ignoring those warning signs. And the issue here is, in my personal opinion, men have ceded far too much power to women based solely off of the basis of their physical existence.
Yeah.
I think that that's the biggest problem with this. I think guys nowadays are too fixated on getting bad bitches.
Yes.
They're too fixated on it. We as men care about that stuff too much. And whenever we are faced with the opportunity, if you want to use that word, to get one of these women from a physical standpoint, we will cede power in order to obtain them in such a way that we will ignore obvious functioning warning signs just for the opportunity to say, I got with a chick who looks like her. When obviously there is far more important thing. Well, looks are important, but there's other things that are just as important when it comes to an individual that you want to actually be a mate with. And when you decide that you're going to cede that power on that level and you have children with this person, I feel as though you are asking for what comes to you afterwards. And so I bet right now he's literally crying in his Ferrari because he is wondering whether his decision to cede power to her, despite his knowledge of what was best for him, was worth getting with her. I think right now he's questioning whether it was worth it, because by all appearances, it looks as though he's living in a hell. Having to call police on the mother of your kids because she's acting unhinged and destroying your personal property. No one wants to live like that. And having children, being with the wrong kind of person is already difficult in and of itself. But I would imagine having children with the wrong person completely wrecks your life. Completely wrecks your life. And I'm fairly certain, because you're going to have people who say he did this and he did that. They both played a role and they're both responsible. Yeah, probably so. But he's the one with the security footage. He's the one who's calling the police.
Yep.
He's the one with the damaged personal property, not her.
Yep.
You know, and I'm pretty sure wherever she lives with the OnlyFans money that she makes, I wouldn't doubt that she has security cameras wherever she lives. But we don't see any of the footage for her. We only see the footage at his place. So you guys out there, we as men, you know, we tangentially touched on this last week when we talked about what was that we talked about last week? And you were talking about how guys are always on horny mode and selling us sex all the time. What was that topic?
I forgot what the topic was about, but yeah.
You brought up Beyonce. You were asking if she got a BBL. But
yeah, we got an answer to that or no?
I said I don't know. I don't know. She could have it. At this point, I don't know. But like we've become, we have, like a lot of like the overall population of men, we have been reduced to like sexual deviance, and we'll just cede all the power in the world for the opportunity to lay up with one of these women who exhibits all of the right physical characteristics. And in the process of doing that, you have children with people like this and you wreck your life. So once again, this is yet another referendum on the importance of the right kind of judgment. And contrary to what the internet may tell you, or what some of these toxic women on the internet may say in terms of what you have to be in order to get with them, men have leverage when it comes to the dynamics of relationships too. It's not just women, but we've ceded the vast majority of that leverage in lieu of the pursuit of chicks who look like her. And it's caused a great disturbance in the force, in my opinion. So I think you'll see less of this kind of stuff when guys exhibit better judgment. And I think for Safaree, once again, we talk about progeniting behaviors. I'm not absolving her. She looks unhinged. She looks like she needs help, therapy wise. She looks like she has anger management issues.
Yeah.
But you avoid all of this if you just make a different decision when it comes to being with her. None of this happens. In an alternate reality, Safaree makes one different decision with respect to her. None of this plays out the way it did. Now, it brought him his children. He claims he loves his children. Children are a gift from God, so that's great. But you're dealing with an you're dealing with an untenable situation as a result of the fact that you couldn't see the forest from the trees and just had to get with this chick because she was so bad. And now this is what you're dealing with. So far too many guys, in addition to him, do this all the time. And that's what I think that this is about. It's less about them two individuals, and it's more so about what I'm seeing these days, which is a lot of men foregoing judgment in lieu of getting with a bad chick. And when the bad stuff happens as a result of that foolhardy decision, you're sitting in the dark at home alone wondering whether it was worth it. And I think most guys have determined that it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would also add, man, sometimes, man, it's just in lieu to bust a nut. So, and as you mentioned, man, the sexual deviancy is it's through the roof. In the sense that guys are they're addicted to corn. And from being addicted to this substance, it drives decision making. So the decision is no longer about, hey, I see red flags. The decision is, I want to get her like this. I want to have her like that. I want to see what that's about. And that overrides the decision making. So they can be bad, or they can just be the baddest girl at your job.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just, and then all of a sudden, now you got yourself a toxic baby mama situation. But the red flags were ignored from the jump because the sexual desires was overriding everything. I saw a TikTok the other day where this guy was outside of the window, yelling to himself in the past, as he was going into the room. And he had the box of condoms in his hand. He was like, and then he was like, no. He's like, yeah, man, wishing he could tell himself to stop. But in that decision-making process of, should I use this or do I want to feel the real thing? And at that point, there's no caring about red flags. There's no caring about any of that stuff. It's just trying to get off for the night. And so when we're dealing with, and now this has been a historical thing, I'm sure, but I would also argue that it's definitely been elevated since there's an increase of single parents, so whether male or female. There's no more families going on. So there's definitely an increase of these people having lustful children. And I would say that it's definitely correlated to the availability of corn. and so as I mentioned, these two represent an archetype that's going on in our community all over the place. And it doesn't necessarily have to be because she bad. I get what you're saying, because dudes do that too, because in this context, that's definitely what it was. He needed a rebound after Nikki.
Well, it's bad because bad, whatever bad means to you, it's the
right.
It's the notion of a bad chick. So for him, she was bad, but for you, you might, like you said, it could be somebody who live in your apartment complex who looks good or whatever to you, and it's like, oh, that's a bad, she's a baddie, stay down the hall, and so it just overrides your better judgment at that point.
That's a good example. baddie to stay down the hall, right? Or just decent enough to stay down, you'll hit that stay down the hall. You see 2 or 3 dudes, coming out of there whenever. You'll see this dude walk out of there one day, a couple weeks later, there's some other guy pulling up, and you go, oh, she about that. And then you try to inquire to see what this is about. And so instead of reading those red flags, guys would do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I was above that in the past, but that's the problem. And I could tell you straight up that my thing was that I was just trying to bust a nut. When I was a younger person, I'm just out here just trying to get something. I did make some good decisions though, in the sense that I can't get involved with this. This looks like this can end very badly, if I get involved with this girl. So there were times that, I overrid the availability of the situation, but there were other situations that I wasn't above. So and I can just say that because of the content I would watch, that I got to give that type of chick a spin. I got to give that a spin, and all this other stuff. And that's going on replete. And so my whole thing is that is overriding a lot of guys' decision-making process. And, again, even if you're a person that feel like, hey, man, I'm not those other dudes. I heard about her past people. You see, one thing that you're not understanding is that she was the problem with the past dudes. And she's available for a reason. And so you think you're going to be the one that saves this situation because, well, I'm more rational from all the stories that I heard. Next thing you know, you're going to be the dude that's being talked about to the next dude. So if this girl has a shaky story that she's telling you, you have to see her role in this story. But I would sit there and go, oh, well, I'm not him. I'm not him. But luckily for me, I didn't have any children with those wild situations where I was ignoring the red flags.
Right.
But Safaree got himself in a wild situation. So I'm not talking about this as if I'm above it. What I'm saying that these two serve as an archetype. And one thing that he did do when he did get himself in that situation was take the precautionary measures. There's a checklist once you get involved in this. And have security cameras. Hey, man, I don't like all that stuff in my house. Well, now you don't have a choice. That choice is gone when you made that red flag decision. So now you got to have these things in your house. Call the cops. I ain't going to call the cops on my baby mom. Call the cops. And cross all those things off. And then take it to court. Then get full custody of the, play the game. Because you done got yourself in a wonky situation. So there's all kinds of ways to look at this. But I would like to say that, hey, at least for now, preliminarily, I don't know about airing it out on YouTube, but at least preliminarily, he took the right precautionary steps for dealing with such an unhinged woman. Yeah. So there's lessons all over this thing. So it's not so much celebrity tea, but this is definitely like an everyday situation that I hear about on the internet. I hear in personal stories. And so, yeah, man, just be safe out there, y'all. And don't think so big of yourself. Don't have such a big of an ego that you think you can magically remove these red flags from whoever you're dealing with.
Yeah. To touch on something that you said that I found interesting, you said that this isn't something that's new. It's been going on throughout history. It absolutely has been going on throughout history. I think to a certain extent, it is within a man's nature to kind of be a slave to vagina by default. I've made questionable decisions in the pursuit of vagina throughout my life. I have. So I think to a certain extent, men are just kind of defaulted to being slaves to vagina to a certain extent. However, what is unique now is the abundance of stimuli. That's what's making it different. Because you have OnlyFans, you got all of these free streaming websites. It's all over the place. So I think the overabundance of the stimuli is what's putting this kind of dynamic on steroids and making men even more of a slave to vagina than they ever have been, to the point where you have more guys who you would think would make a different decision, making the same kinds of choices, because it's like we're all juiced up on the same drug. It's like we're all hooked on the same narcotic. It's literally how I look at it. It's like a drug. It's one of the reasons why I said years ago, at least for myself, I stopped following Instagram models on social media. Like it's one of the primary reasons why I stopped doing it. If I on any social platform that I had a profile for, I purged every single follow of any kind of female influencer, unless she was some A1 business type person who was teaching me hard skills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One of these, there's a chick who I still have a follow for on Instagram because she's a coder.
Mhm.
So she'll put out videos teaching, like she puts out videos like a couple times a week, like here's this new thing I learned with coding. And so I'm learning something.
All right, but how's her? Is there a cleavage showing?
Oh, so of course she's attractive. Yeah. but I just so happen to follow her. But that's, how the internet works, bro.
Hey, man.
The internet is a cesspool. Even when
I ain't judging you, bro.
I know. Even when they teach you hard skills, it's like they look attractive. It's weird, bro. Like
skills, all right.
But I purged my account. Any of these chicks who they model clothes, they always wearing bikinis, lingerie, they are fitness influencers, they showing their workout videos, which is clearly trying to entice you sexually, like the angles of the video and the clothes that they wearing. Okay, yeah, you work out and your body looks good because you work out, but what you're doing is selling sex appeal.
Absolutely.
Like the undercurrent of this is sex and nothing but.
Absolutely.
It's all about sex. So my thing is the overabundance of the stimuli is so prevalent.
Correct.
That's what makes things different now compared to the way they used to be. And you're a dude and you're running around out here on the internet constantly consuming this every day. It's no wonder so many of us are charged up.
Agreed.
And then for those of us who don't open up the laptop or the tablet because we still want to get the real thing, we going out here into the world and we're carrying that juiced up energy into our interactions with these women, and we're making foolhardy decisions as a result in a lot of cases.
Yep.
Because you're just trying to get that off, because you're just inundated with this stuff constantly. And this is something that uniquely affects men, in my opinion, because with the way that the internet has been proliferated from a content standpoint, only women have been given an increased valuation just based solely off the sake of their existence. That doesn't happen with men. No one gives a shit about the male fitness influencer. No one gives a shit about the male Instagram model. No one's following those guys. Even women only follow other women.
That's true.
So it's like
crazy.
The sake of a man's existence has not been elevated the way the sake of a woman's existence has been elevated. So this is something that uniquely impacts men. And that's why you're seeing a lot of this stuff. And the last thing that I'll say is, at the end of the day, because of the overabundance of this stimuli and the fact that men, we've just lost our way and we're just running around juiced up on sexual imagery 24/7 because of how prevalent it is, we've lost sight of the fact that we have value when it comes to like any sort of sexual dynamic, relationship dynamic, male-female dynamic. Like men do have leverage in that particular ecosystem. We do, but knowledge of that leverage has been taken away from us. And I think it's important that we try to get some of that leverage back, because we do have some power in this. We do. We have power in this equation. Women, for the most part, have access to one thing: sex. In other words, sex pretty much is not going to go down unless she wants it to. You can, a guy can pursue it, ask for it, pay for it, he can be aggressive or whatever. But if she doesn't want it to go down, sex ain't gonna go down, right? So that's where their leverage lies. Is they have access to they have access to the physical act, but that's pretty much the only thing that they have access to. Men have access to family, children, long-term relationships, and marriages. So we retain that leverage. We ain't getting married unless I propose. We're not in a committed relationship unless I determine you're my girl. I have to claim you. I'm the one locking you down. You don't get into committed relationships because she wants it to be that way. They all want it to be that way. We're not getting married unless I propose. They come out the box ready for that. They waiting for you. So if a marriage doesn't take place, it's because the man decided that it wasn't for him. We have access to all of these long-term situations. Therefore, children within a family context also does not happen unless the man wants it to. We're gatekeepers for that too. So I think we have to keep that kind of thing in mind when it comes to remembering the value that we bring to the table in any of these sorts of setups. And remembering that we have that value can hopefully, in my opinion, inform us on how to make the right kind of decision. But if you think the only value that you have in any given situation is your man region and your sexual prowess, then you actually don't have value because you ceded that authority to her because she retains access to sex. And a lot of us are walking around not remembering that because all we know is I need to get a bad chick. That's all we care about. And in lieu of that, you make selfish, ridiculous decisions. And he did that. He made that call. And so that's why ultimately I have to lay the majority of the responsibility for this at his feet. In my opinion, men set the tone. Women merely acquiesce to the tone that we establish, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So this only happened because of strategic decisions that he made or didn't make. But otherwise, I do think that she's responsible for her actions. Can't go running around putting your hands on people, destroying personal property, and being otherwise unhinged. But bro, he and many of us like that have to look ourselves in the mirror and take responsibility for the role that we play in the predicament that we find ourselves in. And so many of us have forgotten the value that we have and the leverage that we have. They have their leverage and value. We have our leverage and our value. But at this present moment in time, we've ceded the vast majority of that because the ongoing narrative has just been about what we need to do, pay, spend, give, contribute, or how much we need to earn or make just to get these women in bed with us. Everything else after that is an afterthought. And that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, man, I agree, bro. And before I'm about to say what I'm about to say, here at the Conscious Approach, man, our thing is to help, facilitate the thinking for yourself. Now, what I'm about to say is y'all just need to be careful out there. Okay, because other social media channels, platforms, and other stuff, they are geared towards destroying your life. They really are. And so, how like when you're sitting there, you're talking about a futon, and the next thing you know, you get ads for futons. Or hell, you're at a red light and you're thinking about getting Bojangles. And now all of a sudden, you scrolling through your thing and there's a Bojangles ad. You didn't even say it. You thought that. But there's a Bojangles ad now. If you and your old lady are having an argument, these social media platforms heard it. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to send you argument TikToks, argument Instagrams, and things that help justify your thought process of how you think you're being done wrong. And it creates it adds to the toxic sludge that's going on already in your little situation. And one thing that these things are doing is that they're tearing apart people that probably otherwise would be normal. So, you know, you like to talk about this red pill content and out here and how that's not healthy for people. It's not. And if there's a person that's having a situation at home, he's going to get served up some red pill content that's going to play right into his confirmation biases. If your old lady was having a situation with you, and then now she goes on her form of whatever social media platform, the algorithm's going to serve her confirmation biases on how you're being a scumbag and cheap. So y'all be careful out here. All right. These social media things ain't just for a good time. And you really have to think for yourselves out here while you're navigating everywhere. All right. So just word of the wise out there, because these two will live in a hell of a toxic situation. All right. So I'm pretty sure Safaree, while he was, you know what I'm saying, doing his whatever thing, he's getting stuff that justifies why this woman's so unhinged, and vice versa. Because in her world, the reason why she jumping gates is because he's the toxic one. So outside of her girlfriend, she get confirmations in her little apps. So just a word of the wise, y'all. Y'all be careful out here. You know what I'm saying? It ain't safe no more.
It ain't safe, man. It ain't safe. I mentioned, and I've mentioned this before, I stopped following Instagram models, fitness chicks, these influencers, all of these women that are just implicitly selling you sex, but they're coding it as I'm selling you something intangibly. I mean, not intangibly, but tangibly. No, they're trying to sell you sex. That's why they're dressed like that. Like, there's no reason for her to be looking like that with all of that makeup, dressed like that, showing off her body, if she's trying to sell you the latest version of Adobe Creative Suite. That don't make no sense. Like the idea behind this thing is they are trying to appeal to your lowest common denominator, which is your sexual energy.
Yes.
I purged myself of all of it. And despite the fact that I got rid of all of it, I still struggle.
Oh, yeah,
that's how palpable this stuff is. I still have to monitor and manage my consumption and my thought processes, because even though I got rid of all this stuff, it's still overly abundant. And so I got rid of all of it. The dating channels too, I got rid of all of them. These YouTube shows, these dating podcasts, I've named them before, I won't name them here. I got rid of all of them. And one thing that these shows do, okay, speaking of how to make the right kind of decision, one thing that a lot of these, I would say most of these dating podcasts on YouTube and any other channel, TikTok, wherever you're looking at them, what they're doing is they're showing you how to get a chick like Erica Mena.
Yeah.
That's what those platforms serve, to teach men how to get a woman like her.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is you're supposed to be getting taught how to avoid women like her.
Correct.
And trust and believe there are women who look just as good as her, who do not exhibit the same toxic personality traits.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're being force-fed is that's what you should be going after. So these guys are thinking I need to be up on game on how to get one. And their form of education in terms of how to get put up on game on how to get one is watching these shows.
Yep.
And listening to the ridiculous advice of some of these content creators who steer you down the wrong path. So be very careful. For any of you guys out there who are subscribed to any of these channels, I won't name them, but they are out there. You know of them. I think you should unsubscribe and follow more productive, quality content, because that stuff is a cesspool, and all those things are doing is steering you in the direction of how to get women like her. And the more you expose yourself to it, the more you will willfully ignore what are otherwise clear and obvious signs that if you continue to proceed with this current course of action, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. So I just say shouts out to all you guys out there. We have a lot of value out here. We've forgotten it. It's been taken away from us, but it's still there. We just have to remember it. And we have to keep it in mind when we're making our decisions when it comes to these women.
1,000, man. So, hey, check your thoughts, man. Just check your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Best way I like to look at it is, everything got to come past the final check guy. And, you can have that initial thought, that invasive thought, whatever the hell thought. It's got to pass a checkpoint to where you go, that's trash. And just measure your thoughts, man. You can help yourself out better whenever you're watching content. When you're watching this, measure what the hell we say, throw out the trash, keep what applies, take everything with a grain of salt, man. But when y'all out there in the wild, you know what I'm saying, just scrolling or wherever the hell, in a weird social circle where people just talking crazy, you know what I'm saying, just take things with a grain of salt, man, and try your best to make the best decisions you can, man. And because you end up in a Safaree situation when you put caution to the wind.
Shouts out to MBG Gaming, Max Payton, and Uta Black on the chat, or Uta Block on the chat. Appreciate the love, man. Thanks for that. Tune in, man. This is how we rock every week, every day, every Tuesday. So, shouts out to Safaree, bro. Good luck. Hopefully it's a lesson learned, bro.
Yeah, man.
You're the gatekeeper. Men are the gatekeepers for marriage and family. We need to remember that, and most of us have forgotten it.
Yeah, and get a good lawyer, bro. Yeah.
Now we have Stephen A. Smith and Jaylen Brown, who sat down to air out some grievances because Jaylen Brown didn't appreciate Stephen A. Smith using it to talk about how Jaylen Brown isn't marketable because of what he likes to do. So Jaylen Brown's issues were not necessarily with this particular critique, but with the fact that the individual was insistent on remaining anonymous. And so he wanted to sit down with Stephen A. Smith because Stephen A. Smith was the one who reported it. And Jaylen Brown is just not here for the anonymous source dynamic in journalism. And he feels as though it's casting an aspersion upon his character. Mm-hmm. So Jaylen Brown here, if we pull this up real quick. So this says the damage is done. Jaylen Brown calls Stephen A. Smith's source coward while discussing state your source controversy. Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown has to get some things off his chest during his live interview with ESPN Stephen A. Smith on Monday. Brown used his guest appearance on the Stephen A. Smith show as an opportunity to lash out at the host's anonymous source. During the Celtics 2024 playoff run, Smith made headlines as he read a text from an unnamed source during an episode of ESPN's First Take. According to the source, there are a few people who don't like Brown and claim the star has a big ego. The source said that the star forward isn't marketable because of it. On the October 21st episode of Smith's show, Brown addressed the controversy and called out the unnamed source. So these are a bunch of quotes here. Brown also took an issue with being called arrogant and said the line got crossed between critiquing on-court performance and attacking one's character. Brown appeared on the show with a shirt that said, "State your source." Those were the words that the Celtics star demanded of Smith when it was first brought up in May. At the end of the show, the forward gifted the famed journalist with the same shirt and posed together for a photo. So that's that photo. There's Stephen A. Smith, looking like he needs to put on a couple pounds of muscle. So we're going to go ahead and cut this, and I'm going to share a clip that Dogon put together that pretty much sums up this particular interview here. So now, bro, did you want to play the whole thing, or you want to do?
Hey man, if you may, I mean, however you rock. But the first minute and a half, 2 minutes is pretty good stuff. But you can let it rock out if you want.
Okay, all right, cool. So here we go. Here's this exchange, and Jaylen Brown taking issue with Stephen A. Smith's unnamed source.
It's not so much that he's underrated; it's that he's just not liked because of his quote, "I am better than you" attitude. He knows it. It's the same reason he is not as marketable as he should be. That's what an NBA source just sent me. I don't know that to be the case. I like Jaylen Brown. I know a lot of people that like Jaylen Brown.
I really wanted to address them directly, but I feel like since this all kind of happened on your platform, I want to send a message to you, to them.
Right.
Because you only the person that knows who the source is. And I basically wanted to say to them that I think it's cowardice. I think historically, unnamed sources have attacked some of our greats. And we are not responsible for what they lack in design. Frankly, they can call all their buddies, they pals and friends from all over the world, all the unnamed sources, and they can shove it where they got it from. Whether they think I'm marketable or not, I walk with God. I'm gonna be me and stand with my community in this life and the next, and that's my journalistic integrity.
Okay.
Wanted to get that off my chest.
Sure.
And now we can start the interview.
You can get it all off your chest. I'm not going away because I got to tell you something. I don't understand why somebody saying what others may feel about you to hold you back, and they know that you've done nothing to deserve it. I don't understand how that's cowardice. Somebody saying this guy is not liked because of that reason. That's not them insulting you. That's not them calling you out. It's them saying the world that we're living in, you're not somebody that's easy to control. You're somebody, you stand on your own and you're your own man.
For sure.
What's the problem with that?
It's a balance, because it's one, you can critique someone's performance.
Okay.
But then also if you're attacking their character. Like, they didn't just say that I wasn't liked. They said I wasn't marketable. They said I was arrogant. I carried myself with a certain demeanor. And that line gets crossed between critiquing someone's performance, not liking them for whatever reason, and then attacking someone's character. I think journalistic integrity requires it to go both ways. I never had a chance to respond or defend myself. One, because they're never going to reveal themselves. And two, the damage is already done. So when I'm speaking to is the unnamed sources. Like, if you speak on it and you say something because we have a relationship, at least I can look at you and we can go back and forth about what it is that we believe or what it is that we don't believe. An unnamed source, like, what is that? It has familiarity with when I was entering the draft. So unnamed source said that I was too smart to be a basketball player or something like that. And that would hurt my draft stock because it was a form of questioning authority. And this unnamed source, who now have said
back in 2016.
Back in 2016, it was a very popular, subject at the time, and this source kind of reminds me of that as well, And I actually figured out who that source was.
Okay.
But I know because of your credentials, your background, your journalistic integrity, we never gonna figure out who that one is.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not. I'm not gonna let that happen because I protect my sources. But
all right, so there you have it. All right, so floor is yours. What do you make of that exchange?
Well, I think it's personally just like it's reminiscent of the LeBron topic. In the sense that Jaylen Brown isn't marketable, but LeBron is. There was some points in that conversation where even Stephen A. Smith himself says that, well, you're not marketable because you're not easily controlled. Also in there, Jaylen Brown said that, when it came up towards his draft, that the narrative that was going out there from an unnamed source was that he's too smart for basketball, which is, basically saying that, he can't be controlled or he's wouldn't be coachable or whatever. So what do you think about? So for whoever this unnamed source is, if Jaylen Brown's too smart for basketball, then what are all these other guys that are playing basketball doing? What's their intelligence like? And if their intelligence is low, that means they're easy to control. Control for what would be my following questions. So Jaylen Brown has had this narrative out there against him, and now I see why. Because he's out here trying to create his own thing. He's out here not trying to be a part of the status quo. He's out here actually trying to empower people from his community. And then there's other people who don't. And as I was bringing up earlier when we were talking about LeBron and how he totes the company line, he don't just totes the NBA line. He totes the industry line, if you ask me. And he does everything that the industry wants him to do. And then there's somebody like Jaylen Brown who thinks for himself, that wouldn't shake somebody's hand, that wouldn't go to that venue or do whatever. And they say, you know what? I don't like this kid. So when Stephen A. Smith got on ESPN and says he's not likable, they weren't talking about regular people. He wasn't likable to this industry. And because he's not likable in the industry, he's not marketable in the industry. So hence him being withheld from the Olympics. And he spoke about it because he had a little spat with Nike. And he wasn't, and Nike was running the Olympics. And so that was the video we covered where Grant Hill was calling him a conspiracy theorist. Well, we all know what company line Grant Hill's on. I guess he's also not smart enough to not be a part of the company line. Grant Hill, that is. So for this whole conversation here, I found it very intriguing. I'm even more impressed by Jaylen Brown because he said his whole thing is he stands for the people and his community for this life and the next one. And that's something that Lebanon would never say. He told us to free Big Meech and that there was no party like a diddler party. But Jaylen Brown is on the opposite side of the spectrum, a 180, somebody that, at least for now, at least with all this stuff that he's talking and doing, this guy is worth celebrating. There's no need to hate on this guy, Jaylen Brown, that is. So I found that interview very interesting, very telling in a few subtle ways, because he said a lot without saying much. But if you're listening, you heard it. And low-key shout out to Stephen A. Smith for giving this guy a platform, to say these things because, well, he didn't really have a big platform to say this kind of stuff on. So we'll see how far this goes. We'll see what happens with Jaylen Brown's initiatives, his endeavors, because whoever said he's not likable, they still don't like him. And so we'll see how this pans out in the future. But what are your thoughts on Jaylen Brown confronting Stephen A. Smith on his unnamed sources? What are your thoughts, bro?
For about 10 years, I lived in Tallahassee. Well, I lived in Tallahassee, Florida for 18 years.
Oof.
For 10, yeah. For 10 of those 18 years, I worked at a very popular chain barbecue restaurant in the region. I'm not going to say the name of it. Look up barbecue Tallahassee. It'll probably be top ranked on Google. That's who it was. My tenure during my time at this restaurant was tumultuous, to say the least. I was often branded difficult, insubordinate, disobeyed authority, and I talked too much, ran my mouth too much. People didn't want to work with me. Some people thought that I was just flat out a bad employee, all of this good stuff. And I would raise hell in that place from time to time. But the reason why I raised hell is because I was somebody who observed the various efficiencies or lack thereof in terms of how the place ran. And I would speak out when it came to how the place was managed in terms of ways that I think it could be done better. Various aspects of the way that the place ran procedurally, food preparation, scheduling, putting people on the schedule to work, times they came in, how to operate certain pieces of equipment, how to do certain things, the right way to clean stuff, the right way to do certain things like that. I always spoke out against it. And when I felt as though my speaking out fell on deaf ears, I would become frustrated and become cantankerous. As a result of me becoming cantankerous, I was dubbed all of that stuff that I just mentioned. Take him off the schedule. He's insubordinate. He's not really good to put on there. Not real good to work with. Write him up. Get him out of here. He's difficult. He disobeys authority. All of that stuff. All those buzzwords. I feel as though the sentiment is similar to whatever that unnamed source says about Jaylen Brown. It's not that he is actually somebody who's not marketable. He's just somebody who's not. What's the way for me to put this without sounding dismissive? Like, Jaylen Brown is just not a drone.
Yeah.
He's not a drone. And the thing about it is the majority of the population is like, I would say on a scale of 100%, I think 70% of the population are predestined to be followers, employees, drones, workers. And the other 30% are people who are predestined to be removed from that and don't have to deal with being workers, drones, employees, followers, subordinates. Jaylen Brown just so happens to be one of those individuals whose mental makeup is not one for subordination. I'm pretty sure he does not have a problem cooperating with what you want to do. He's just going to question it if he thinks certain aspects of it don't make sense.
Right.
But when you're the individual who's accustomed to dealing with people who never question anything, anybody who questions anything, you're going to interpret as being difficult. Therefore, that person is quote unquote not marketable. And this is what I dealt with all the time. When I came in to work at that place every day, I was surrounded by people who, no matter how stupid a particular action was, they did it anyway because management told them to. No matter how inefficient it was, they did it anyway and didn't say anything because management told them to. No matter how bad the food they were sending out was, they sent it out anyway because management told them to. So here comes me, somebody who says, I don't think that process makes sense. I think we need to do something about that because it doesn't make sense and we need to fix it. And because the status quo is no one says anything and you just do what you're told without speaking out against it if it doesn't make sense, I was the person who was the malcontent because I dared say something about it. And so now I'm the bad employee with the bad attitude. When really all I'm doing is saying we need to fix this process because it's dumb and it doesn't make sense. Don't put this person on the schedule because they're slow. They need work. They need more training. That doesn't make sense. Don't put them in this position or in this particular station because that's not their strong suit. Put them over here. Put them in the back. Right? I was the guy saying we need to do that stuff. And for the most part, I was the only guy saying we need to do that stuff because everyone else in that building is just, okay, I'll do what management says, even if it doesn't make sense. So Jaylen Brown just so happens to be one of those people who will speak out if something is dumb, stupid, inefficient, doesn't make sense. And because most of those NBA players don't do that because they don't have the mental makeup for it, quite frankly, they're not smart enough to do it. He's deemed as somebody who has the issue, who has the problem, who is therefore not marketable.
Right.
As quietly as it's kept, I guess for whatever reason, people think professional athletes are all intelligent and smart. No, they're not. The same percentage of the population who is smarter than average in the rest of the world is the same percentage of the population within these micro environments who are smarter than everyone else within that same environment. 80, I would say 70% of NBA players don't have that level of intellect. And they will do whatever Nike says. They'll wear whatever they tell them to wear, do whatever they tell them to do, say whatever they tell them to say on their social media, even if they don't agree with it. If it goes against their personal politics, if it goes against their family values, if it goes against whatever, even if it can be a guy who doesn't like wearing the color red. But if Reebok says wear red because we told you to, he won't at least say why I don't like wearing red. He'll just do it.
Yep.
Whereas Jaylen Brown will at least say, hey, man, can we pick a different color? I don't like the color red.
Mm-hmm.
And this ecosystem of marketability is built upon people who don't question anything. Just like the workplace is built on people who don't question anything. Walmart is able to get away with what it gets away with because people show up, clock in to get a paycheck, and go home, and they don't question anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with every other Fortune 500 company, every other employer. It's the same situation. The NBA is an employer, and those guys are employees. And just like most employees who go to work at Macy's or a car dealership or a restaurant, they show up to do what they got to do, say yes or say no, and do whatever they got to do to get their money so that they can go about their business. And there's the very small percentage of people who question things that they don't think make sense. And the establishment views that as problematic because in the perfect world, everybody just shuts up and does what management says.
Yep.
So I hear exactly where Jaylen Brown is coming from. I have firsthand experience with this. That's why I can speak to it. I can personalize it. And that's not me necessarily. I do think Jaylen Brown is a great guy, but I don't think he's infallible. He probably does do things that aren't really advised. He probably does do things that aren't the best thing to do. Probably does make bad decisions here or there. But this notion of he's not marketable comes from the idea that most people fall in line. And the expectation of any establishment, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, the Wall Street, Fortune 500 companies, whoever you may work for, the expectation is that you fall in line. Mm-hmm. And when encountered with someone who doesn't fall in line and who has a natural propensity for questioning things, it's viewed as problematic. Because the easiest thing for the establishment to do is bring in people who are more than willing to fall in line. So I get, and you know, the annoyance with the unnamed source, I hear that. You know, when Stephen A. Smith said, what's cowardly about that? Well, the cowardly thing is the person didn't want to put their name on it.
Right.
Like, that's why it's cowardly. It's cowardly because the person didn't want to say, hey, I said that. That's what makes it cowardly.
Right.
That's what makes it cowardly. And at least in my personal situation, when I was dealing with what I was dealing with, I knew who were the people saying stuff about me, so I can go directly to him and say, can we talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have that leeway because he's dealing with journalism and professional sports where people want to remain anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, this whole dynamic boils down to the establishment having expectations that the majority of their subordinates are going to fall in line.
Correct.
And that is not just with the NBA, that's with the world. That's with any employer, any organization that employs people, that hires people. The expectation is fall in line.
Yep.
If you are someone who does not fall in line, not because you're being insubordinate on purpose, but because you just want to question things. Like I question stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I question stuff. But establishments view that as a threat. They don't want their status quo questioned. They just want you to do it because they said so.
Yes.
And a lot of times people who question things are doing it not because they want to wreck shop, but because they want to gain a better understanding of why you're telling me to do this. I'm questioning it not because I want to destroy everything that you got going on. I like to understand what I'm doing. I don't just walk into a situation to do it without knowing why or for what purpose or how it works. I'm going to question it. And that is just not comfortable for a lot of arbiters of previously established status quos. And Jaylen Brown is clearly somebody who questions things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he is all the better for it. And yeah, LeBron doesn't question anything. You know, he's like, give me my check.
Right.
You know, I want to be a billionaire. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And I'm going to fall in line. That's why he fell in line with China.
Yes.
Jaylen Brown wouldn't fall in line. If you put Jaylen Brown in that same situation, he's not going to fall in line.
Correct.
Going to stick by his guns, and then he'll just end up getting fired. Okay, well, you're off Team USA or whatever, just like what happened with the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
But all he's doing is questioning things. That's it. And for a lot of status quo establishments, the mere questioning of something is problematic, and it'll get coded as this person's not marketable.
Correct.
Because the environment of marketing something is contingent upon someone falling in line and doing what the status quo says. So he's just somebody who rocks the boat, not because he's literally a boat rocker, but merely because he questions things. And for some people out there, questioning things is just a bit too much.
Right. And I agree with all of that. And the thing is that, well, who is the status quo, at least in his context? Who is the status quo? And who are these people that don't think he's marketable? And what, and like you said, like, it's not as though he's trying to, him asking these questions is, he's not trying to destroy what they're doing, but they do take that as a threat. They do take it as a threat. And that's why they have to slander his name. And so the reason why it's a threat is because these athletes and entertainers are very convincing people. And like we always tell people all the time, hey, man, don't get into celebrity worship or whatever. But if there was somebody on the status of a celebrity and people worship that person and they had standards, that person is dangerous. That person's got moral and integrity, and they're trying to tell everybody else to do that. That's a problem.
Hell yeah, bro. Like, you think if we were bigger, like, let's say this channel had, and not to cut you off, but it's because you're 100% correct. Let's say this channel had 2 million subscribers and we were huge and had a huge platform. You don't think there would be elements on the internet trying to silence what we talk about here?
Oh, absolutely.
And we're not mentioning things. We mention some things by name, but we don't mention everything by name. We're just speaking in general about the need for people to think for themselves.
Correct.
That's primarily what this channel serves to do.
Correct.
But if we had a bigger platform and I'm sitting around saying, hey, man, unsubscribe from Instagram models. Hey, guy out there, you're better if you don't follow those Instagram models on Instagram. Meta would probably be sending me silent cease and desists.
Correct.
And I'm not trying to destroy Meta's formula. I'm looking out for the individual.
Right.
But me looking out for the individual directly impacts Instagram and these various entities in a way that they don't appreciate. Therefore, I become a problem.
Correct. And so that's why this anonymous source has to go on a very major platform and text Stephen A. Smith so he can put a narrative out there. So he can put a narrative out there for anybody else that's trying to figure out what Jaylen Brown's got going on. And then the inception is, oh, he's the unlikable guy. Of course he's going to try to come out with his own damn shoe. This is the guy that's not coachable, or this is the guy that's abrasive to everybody. Of course he doesn't want to do whatever. And it's like, no. So this Jaylen Brown is a person that actually has, at least perceivably for now, standards and values and a mission and a goal. Unlike these other people out here that make it. And this is, and I'm gonna say, bro, and this is why it's important. People gotta attend these parties. This is why it's important. So they can be a part of the club. And if you're down, you're down. And if you're not down, bro, then there's a problem. We can't trust this guy. He can probably go rogue. Now, if there's people that don't go to the party, that's just status quo because they're, like you said, they're on drone mode. So there's people that don't attend those things and they just as droney as anybody else. So they don't give a damn. But if there's somebody out there that has some type of capacity and they're not attending these things, or they're not wanting to be a part of your little club, hey, Jaylen Brown, one of the top recruits in the country, want to wear our shoes? No. What's wrong with this kid? Every time we try to give somebody, these shoes and we sell it to these kids in the ghettos, they They can't help but to jump all over these damn shoes. This guy's saying no to them. We'll give him a try.
What's wrong
And
with
then, yeah. And then these other companies trying to give him a try. Hey man, this Jaylen guy's talking about building stuff from the ground up. What? Yeah, talking about he wants to build a Black Wall Street. Well, we can't have that. Because if there is somebody out there that does start something of his own and does start a movement of his own, then the next top recruiter is going to tell us no. We can't have that. So what can they do is try to slander his name. And so this is why last time when we were talking about his shoes last time, I was like, hey, man, you're going up against some very large interests. And like you said, man, he's not infallible, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a human being. You know what I mean? He might send a crazy tweet one day or, a DM somewhere, somebody. Yeah, they're going to try to get this guy. I know it. So, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully, like I said in that last one, man, keep your nose clean, Jaylen. I'm loving what you're doing. I'm loving your message, man. You know what I'm saying? Stay strong out here, bro, because there are young athletes that are watching you, bro. And they are gonna take it to the next level. You're already taking it there, but you know what I'm saying? You are laying a great framework so far. So I'm definitely enjoying the show. I'm enjoying your words, but more than that, I'm enjoying the actions you're putting behind it, man.
Yeah.
So this is awesome stuff that you're doing, and I'm a big fan of the guy, man. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I haven't had a favorite NBA player since Kobe. Yeah. But he's kind of sort of becoming like my favorite player. And he's like the first person. Well, he's an awesome player. So don't get me wrong. Yeah. He's really, really good. Like he's an elite basketball player. But he's like the first person that I've ever appreciated athlete wise for what he says and does and how he carries himself personally. Correct. Because I've always been the person who separates it. I've always been like, I'm not appreciating a pro athlete for what they do non-athletically because I assume that they're imperfect pieces of crap in their personal life. And maybe not all of them are that bad, but I just set myself up for that assumption so that I don't get disappointed whenever there's a faux pas that happens. And now everybody's like, oh my God, we're so disappointed. Why? Right. Because you didn't realize he was human. Right. But, Jaylen Brown, he questions things. And I appreciate that about any person, but employers don't appreciate that. You stocking shelves at Walmart and you constantly asking the manager, why do we have to do it like this? Why can't we do it like this? This isn't efficient. Why are we doing it this way? They can't stand, like, be an employee at a place like that and question stuff. They looking for the first chance to take you off the schedule. 100. They just want the drones. They don't want
or don't promote you.
Right. Or leave you stagnant. Yep. But they don't want people who question things. And he is amongst the small percentage of our population who questions things. Yep. In any given population, I would say it's about 20 to 30% of that overall population that has that kind of thought process, whether it's a professional sports league, any kind of store, restaurant, establishment, workplace, corporate culture, office building, I don't care where it is. 70% of the people fall in line and don't say anything and don't question it. And you do have the 30% who say, does that really make sense? Should we be doing it this way? So I like that. And he's a disruptor. Yes, and the marketplace hates disruptors. Yeah. That's why people jump at the first chance they get to discredit people like Elon Musk. They jump at the first chance they get to throw dirt on people's names like Ice Cube. If you are a disruptor and you come into an industry looking to shake things up because you have a different model and you want to build something for yourself, they're the first people who want to say you're not marketable or you're not cooperative or you aren't easy to work with, or the rest of this coded language that really amounts to nothing more than this person likes to question things.
Correct. Hey, shout out Jaylen, man. I was looking for the shoes to pre-order, bro. I couldn't find them, but hopefully they'll be coming out soon so I can pre-order them things. I'm copping a few pair, bro. So I'm supporting the movement, man. We'll see how things go. I got a keen sense of smell, bro. I can tell when things go left real quick. But from right now, from what he's got going on, this he's seeming like the real deal.
Yeah.
When it comes to what he's talking about. So
Yeah.
I'm appreciating this. I'm a heavy critic of people. My tinfoil hat stay strapped. All right. But he's passing the sniff test right now, man. And I appreciate his endeavors, man. I really like this.
Yeah, that it does. Trust me, I know firsthand. That hat is on very tight.
It's strapped, bro.
Yeah. Shouts out to Jaylen Brown, man. Keep doing your thing, bro. Keep questioning things. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Speaking of pro athletes who are drones and don't question anything,
Lord have mercy.
Jaylen Green, young player who I would say up to this point has failed to live up to his potential. He is famously dating Drea Michelle, who's like almost 20 years older than him. Speaking of what we talked about 2 topics ago, she's one of these vixen chicks, Instagram model, influencer. She's just selling sex. That's what she does.
Yep.
She would probably be categorized by the internet as a bad chick, I'm pretty sure. And a lot of people got on Jaylen Green's case and accused her of being a predator or engaging in predatory behavior because she's like 17 years older than him and she got pregnant with his kid, who she's since given birth. I think they had a daughter. And now she's on social media celebrating his contract extension, which opened up the door for more claims of her engaging in predatory behavior. So here we go. This says Drea Michelle accused of gold digging after flaunting Jaylen Green's new mega deal. Drea Michelle and Jaylen Green are a couple that has certainly caused quite a stir on social media. Overall, they have an age gap of about 17 years, which in the eyes of many is a bit predatory. Some have accused Michelle of being a gold digger and trapping Green. However, the Houston Rockets star has been adamant that he and Michelle are doing just fine and do not care about all of the social media hot takes regarding their relationship. Following the birth of their child, the couple was remaining pretty low-key. However, Michelle has respawned all of the criticisms that were being leveled against her. How? Well, it is because Green just got a 3-year, $106 million contract extension. Instead of congratulating her man in private, Michelle took to Instagram where she flaunted the new deal. This subsequently led to a whole bunch of allegations that Michelle is a gold digger who had been scouting Green from the very beginning. Let's see. So there's the post there from the Shade Room, and there's something that she said. So if you see there towards the bottom, it says, congrats, Jaylen, and then there's a swipe. They say what her comment was, though, in this article somewhere. Maybe it'll be further down. These comments can be found on all corners of the internet, and especially over in the comment section of the Shade Room. Something in my spirit says she studied and scouted that boy like an agent, one person wrote. Feels cringe her posting about his income, said another. One fan even got creative with the joke saying, I know she was rubbing her hands like Birdman watching the ESPN reports. While Michelle and Green will continue to live their lives, there is no doubt that some have already made up their minds about what is potentially going on here. So I'm looking for what she said. The deal includes a player option. This reportedly allows Green to increase his earnings potential. Green is the first NBA player to negotiate a 2+1 rookie extension on a 9-figure deal successfully. See what his lady and mother of his daughter, Drea Michelle, had to say about his huge moment. So I'm going to keep looking for what her comment was, but I'll let you go ahead and get started. So do you think this is another example of, here's what she said. So this is what she said towards the bottom there. She said, congrats, term short, money long. That's what she said there.
Lord have money.
Term short, money long.
All right.
Obviously, that's a reference to the fact that the deal is only worth 3 years, but it's a large amount of money per year. So, do you think that she is further perpetuating the idea that she engaged in predatory behavior against this young man?
I mean, yeah, but this is her laughing to the bank. And there's nothing that the internet can say. This is nothing that people in her personal life can say. You know, she won. He was legal age, so people can say what they want. She did her scouting. She swooped down, like an eagle and snatched the fish up out the water. And she got what she wanted. She even got him talking like that. We don't care. We don't care about the outside noise. You don't know our love. That's how they talk to you. It gets you to think. And so hey man, she wins. And we talked about this before, I believe, like whenever we were talking about this situation when it first popped up, or whenever we talk about these athletes dealing with these career slurs. And so and we say, hey man, it's a cautionary tale. Hopefully these dudes are paying attention. But when they so locked in on it like this, like how he is, and just willing to ignore everything in sight, there is nothing you can really tell this guy. And like you said in the last topic, man, if you're on drone mode, man, if you're thinking like a bot out here, you don't stand a chance with any of these types of women. If they got a little jiggle, if they have the right skin complexion, that's it. That's all it takes. And so, you know what I'm saying? So this girl, I can see why people would, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, but it's the generic baddie, and to hell with age and all this other stuff. Like, he doesn't care about that. It fits the generic baddie mold. So she's going to be a basketball wife one of these days. She already was. She's going to be it again, is my point.
No, I'm just saying, don't think that she didn't already cross that frontier. She already did that.
Hey,
so,
man, you know what I'm saying? Doubling up, man. So you got to keep those checks rolling in. She doesn't have a real skill, you know what I'm saying, outside of gobbling, you know what? You know what I'm saying? So she doesn't have a real life skill. So her best bet is to drop kids from somebody that's going to make bank. So Jaylen, man, she getting that new money too. So she was basketball wife before and had kids from previous. She getting that new NBA money, that dumb money. And so when she's sitting there, short term, it's only 3 years, girl. But one thing about it is that back end contract, it's gonna be nuts. So, but it's already too late, even if she's out the picture, because the baby's there, and that's child support. So she's walking around with 50 racks a month, and she loves it. So her whole thing is like, I'm paid for life. So, hey, Jaylen, if you satisfied with that, if you like it, sir, I love it. All right. And the days for me feeling sorry for these guys, they're long gone, man. Like, I don't feel sorry for this goofy behavior, man. Like, I don't think I was ever that wide open. You know what I'm saying? But here these young guys go. I don't think the previous generation was that wide open. This is like a new phenomenon where these guys are getting poached on like this. But then again, these industry women, these slurs, bro, they went to class, and they really got this down to a science. So hey man, best of luck to you, man. Sir Jaylen, I guess. But you got, bro. And that 106 million, bro, is more like 30-something million when she's done with you. But what are your thoughts, man, on the streets getting at this Drea Michelle girl for poaching on little innocent Jaylen? What are your thoughts, man?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're walking in the woods, right? Mm-hmm. And you've been walking for maybe a mile. Okay. And the entire time that you've been walking that mile, you know that there's like a mountain lion behind you.
Okay.
So you've known for the whole mile that this mountain lion is behind you. Mm-hmm. And you didn't do anything to avoid the mountain lion. You just kept walking because you're like, mountain lion behind me. Oh, well, I'll just keep walking. I don't care. Mm-hmm. And then the mountain lion attacks you. Mm-hmm. Now you've been walking for the mile, and the mountain lion attacked you. You knew that the mountain lion was behind you the whole time. You did nothing to get away. You did nothing to protect yourself. You did nothing to avoid the mountain lion.
Correct.
And then the mountain lion went mountain lion on you.
Correct.
Like, whose fault is that? Is it you for not doing anything to protect yourself, or is it the mountain lion?
Now,
Like, where do you take responsibility for that?
So part of this analogy is I do have something to protect myself, right? I ain't just out here butt naked with a lion.
Correct.
Okay, so if part of this analogy is I have a capable tool.
The point of the analogy is you have working knowledge that there's something there.
Okay.
You had this working knowledge for a considerable period of time. You had the means to do something about it, and you didn't.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Okay.
I mean, I can't blame a mountain lion for
going mountain lion.
Yeah.
The mountain lion went mountain lion. So the reason why I asked you that question, and my point is she's not preying on him. That's my point.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that question is because he is what, 22? How old is he? 22, 23? How old is Jaylen Green?
He's young, 21.
Yeah, he a little tweener. He's a Gen Zer. He is 22 years old. All right. I am pretty sure he uses the internet.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he's on Instagram. I'm pretty sure he's on TikTok. I'm pretty sure he's on all the platforms, on all the apps. I'm pretty sure he is well versed in how to use these various devices and these platforms. All right. So operating under that assumption, he has the ability to look up Drea Michelle and see that she was engaged to Orlando Scandrick, NFL player.
That's right.
She was in a relationship with Tyrod Taylor, NFL player. She was with The Game, a rapper.
The Game.
She was with Chris Brown, an R&B singer / banger.
Breather.
She was with Javaris Crittenton, a former NBA player who served 10 years in prison for aggravated manslaughter.
Damn.
And she was also with Deshaun Stevenson, former NBA player.
Wow.
Outside of those individuals, she's also been associated with French Montana, rapper, Ray J, R&B singer, Wiz Khalifa, rapper, The Diddler, Lil Wayne, Fabulous, Paul Pierce, NBA player, Gilbert Arenas, NBA player, Kenyon Martin, former NBA player. Okay, so he has the ability to find this information. I just found it. It took me 30 seconds. It didn't take me that long.
Damn.
In addition to that, he also has the means to look up the fact that she was at Diddy parties. You know, there's a video surfacing. I saw this video on WorldStar, but I'm pretty sure you can see it elsewhere. There's a video going around of her in a jacuzzi at a Diddy party. And it's because she was hanging around one of the Diddler's sons. I think it was Justin Combs for a little bit, and so they're in the jacuzzi together, and she's in the jacuzzi with her top off at a Diddy party. So my point with all of this is, if that isn't a laundry list of been around the block, I don't know what is.
Jeez Louise, dude.
And it's an extensive enough history that this mountain lion has been walking behind you for several miles, and you did nothing to prevent the mountain lion from going mountain lion on you. He did nothing to prevent her from going Drea Michelle on him.
That's right.
That's 100% his fault.
1,000.
So I don't blame her at all. She went and she secured her bag, or yet another one of them.
Yeah.
This is on him. This is on you, bro. So by all appearances, he's parroting the speech. He says they good, they happy, whatever. But if things go left, I don't want to see him getting on YouTube like Safaree.
Right, exactly.
Talking about I should have seen the signs, and I should have done this, and I should have done that.
The internet told you the signs.
Bro, you got a phone, bro. You got a phone, bro. You got a phone. You could have looked up her extensive history. He probably did, and he doesn't care. Because these dudes don't care. They have no scruples. as we like to say.
Exactly.
She went mountain lion on him. That's it. She didn't prey on this. You cannot be preyed upon when you see the predator approaching you from a mile away and you do nothing about it. Like, what are we doing here?
It's crazy.
But again, we are dealing with these guys, man. These younger dudes, this new generation of money, and even the older, more established guys. They are just numb to bad chicks, numb to it.
And she not, but that's my thing, dog. Like, you could do so much better than this,
bro. My stance on, because I think that she is good looking.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
the baggage. It's like, look, man, and this for the life of me is what I don't understand. There are women who look just as good, if not better than her, with not nearly the amount of baggage. But it's like you just need to get with these chicks who are popping online, who have this extensive history, because your social engineering has brainwashed you into believing that that's the prize pick.
Yep.
Despite the fact that she's been ran through industry-wise.
Everything wise.
So look, man, I'm not giving these. Look, well, you already know me, my track record. You can go through the history of this channel with us talking about this. I've been stopped giving these dudes a pass.
Yeah. I used to feel somewhat sorry for these dudes. You know what I'm saying? In a sense that, oh man, you know, they grew up in this era where, you know, they had corn on their phone when they was like 11 years old, so they just got wrapped up in the sauce. But the internet warned this kid about this before, you know, he even dropped seed. So, yeah, man, you pulled up that whole facts pretty fast, bro. Like, that was a 304.net, bro. What that was that?
It does not take it was Google, bro. It don't take long. It does not take long. All you have to do is be moderately all you have to do is be moderately search engine savvy, and you can find this stuff.
We need that for the average man.
Exactly.
Just drop in something, man, and just pull up. I'll pay $50.
You know what? That might be a good app idea. like there's a Carfax. We need a whole fax.
Yeah.
Like there needs you can look up the Carfax to see the history of a vehicle. Yeah. Maybe someone needs to develop the whole fax.
Yeah, bro, I'll pay $50 a month for that, dog. I'll pay $50 a month for that, bro.
Dog, Jaylen Green, bro. Look, man. Look, bro. Right now, this is to the critics of their relationship. She didn't prey on him. He asked for this. Okay, so my main takeaway with this is to those who want to accuse her of being predatory. It's not predatory if he saw it a mile away and still willfully accepted it. It's not. I'm sorry. So from that standpoint, this is on him and not her. But to him, I will say, if things go left, bro, I don't want to hear the sob story.
I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear the sob story. Get off my lawn with the sob story. Make better choices. And at the end of the day, we got to make better choices as men.
I mean, he gonna feel it when that 50, and who knows, bro, the way the economy's going, you know what I'm saying? Those might be 65K, 70K a month child supports. So he gonna feel it then, and it ain't gonna be funny then. But it's like, you know, all right, bro, and then wait till you retire. Oh, I'm gonna make this endeavor. I'm gonna make this endeavor to make that money back. She gonna say that you're making that much now. You're locked in for 18 years, compadre. So you better enjoy it, bro. So hey, and again, bro, the internet warned this dude. It wasn't just like, oh, the homeboy over here, a teammate over there. Even though they did that too.
Yeah, they did.
The whole internet did it. So you know what I'm saying? You can sit in your little echo chamber if you want. Well, she created the echo chamber for me. Like, still, Safaree, you're done. You know what I'm saying? You're done, bro. Can't feel sorry for this kid, man.
Yeah, can't. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. So no, there is no predator here. There is just the dumbass. So that's all this boils down to. There's just the horned up, looking to bust a nut dumbass. And unfortunately, so many of us are just horned up, looking to bust a nut dumbasses.
It's crazy.
So good luck, Mr. Green. You're going to need every bit of that contract money.
Yes, sir. That's crazy.
Hey, y'all, let us know. Let us know what you think in the comments, man. Are we tripping? You know, is she being a predator? You know, is Jaylen Green a victim? You know, are we being too hard on him? Am I being too hard on him? I'm not giving him a pass.
I
But
ain't giving no bad either.
let us know what y'all think, man. Because I think that his decision making with this has been disgraceful, and I don't give a shit how old he is. There's no excuse. Everybody got the internet.
Yep. Mm-mm-mm.
All right, and for our last topic, we are going to get into the WNBA for a little bit. So the WNBA season concluded. What was that? Monday night, with the New York Liberty won the first ever WNBA title in franchise history, and it came on the heels of a questionable foul call by the officials. And the coach of the Minnesota Lynx, who lost to the New York Liberty, didn't take too kindly to the foul call. She feels as though they were robbed of their championship by the foul call. And a lot of people have chimed in on this. Candace Parker chimed in on it as well. She said that it was marginal contact, but, you know, that isn't the sole reason why the Lynx lost the game, essentially. So she says Candace Parker's take on controversial WNBA Finals call will intrigue Lynx fans. The 2024 WNBA Finals were memorable to say the least. They featured excitement, drama, clutch moments, and controversy. One foul call late in the fourth quarter was especially controversial as New York Liberty star Breanna Stewart missed a shot to tie the game with only a few seconds remaining on the clock. However, a foul was called. Stewart ended up making both free throws, and the Liberty defeated the Minnesota Lynx in overtime. Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve was not pleased with the foul call, and she even said the game was stolen from us. So y'all can go ahead and click on this link to this article in this video, and y'all can check that out for yourself. She's basically going off on the refs. WNBA legend Candace Parker shared her thoughts on the play via X/Twitter. So here's her tweet here. It says, was that reviewed foul call a foul? I don't think it was. Marginal contact. And then she responded to someone else's comment. And an entire OT where they made one shot, I think. The call sucked. New York sucked and didn't necessarily deserve the game, but that call did not equal the win. To which Candace Parker responded, as a new fan to the WNBA, I can debate stuff like this. That call didn't lose the game, but boy, it would have probably won it for many if it was overturned. The Lynx did not play a perfect game. Minnesota endured offensive struggles as they failed to find much of a rhythm throughout the contest. Still, their defense played well and limited the Liberty. No, one foul call did not lose them the game, but as Parker wrote, had it been overturned, the Lynx probably would have won Game 5. The call is certainly debatable. It was a difficult call for the officials. There needed to be conclusive evidence for the call to be overturned, and the officials clearly did not feel that the available evidence justified a change after the Lynx challenge. Candace Parker's message after the Lynx defeat. Parker had more to say on X. She played in many big games during her career, so Parker understands the feeling of losing in the postseason. She knows how difficult it is. I've been to the finals, won and lost chips, but there is no bigger emotion than losing and listening to the other team celebrate while you are in the locker room. I can remember the champagne, but I can feel the gut-wrenching pain in my stomach when we fell short. This loss was surely even more difficult given the way the game ended. Minnesota challenged the best team in the WNBA throughout the series, and they feel as if they should have won. Losing in that manner is frustrating. Nevertheless, the Lynx should be proud of the season they had. Meanwhile, the Liberty took advantage of the foul call and did not look back. They played better in overtime en route to the victory. New York needed a complete team effort to defeat Minnesota, as the Lynx would not go down without a fight. The future is bright for both teams. New York will have a good chance of defending their title in 2025, but Minnesota will have extra motivation following their heartbreaking WNBA Finals defeat. So what do you make of the foul call and Candace Parker's comments?
I feel like Candace, because I don't know if she's still like a pundit for like NBA stuff, but she's gonna say what she's gonna say as far as so she's gonna tote the company line with that. But if anybody saw that play, bro, it was bogus. I didn't bother watching the series. I barely knew it was the finals. But I saw this floating all over TikTok. I was like, wait, what the hell is this? So first of all, this Breonna Stewart lady, who she can hoop, by the way. I ain't really gonna shade her out like that, but she traveled when she caught that ball. She took like 5 steps, didn't even put the ball down, then finally dribbled. And then when she was pulling up to take the shot, as Candace Parker mentioned, and everybody else that saw it, that contact was marginal. Did she get her some on the hand? Yeah, but she also got some of the ball, so hands part of the ball, so it was nothing. There's also a clip floating around where the Liberty coach was basically saying, hey, Breonna, you're going to get the ball. And if they hit you in any kind of way, embellish it. She literally said, embellish it. And so, sure enough, Breonna just looking for a foul, more or less, not even really trying to make it. Just goes up there and hoists up something. So I was like, hey, man, what's going on here? So I got to looking at that final game free throw discrepancies. And my, oh my, it was classic NBA it was NBA officiating type numbers. So the New York Liberty shot 25 free throws compared to the Lynx 8. And the coach, the head coach, when she was up there venting at the podium, she said the whole series was like this. And, it's tough to try to coach these ladies, through these types of things, but we've been experiencing these types of things the whole series. I don't have the total numbers for these because I went back and looked at the other games. They let some games play out where it's kind of fair, but there were more games. There was like at least 3 games of these where the Liberty shot way more free throws than the Lynx did. So at this point, to me, it looked like a little collusion there. We covered a topic last season where the Toronto Raptors coach was irate. You know what I'm saying? What did he say? What was his catchphrase? He says, damn, I can't remember his phrase. It's a complete crap. That's what he said. when they was playing the Lakers.
The Lakers, yeah.
Yeah, and then because I watched that game too. I had like a parlay or something going. I'm sitting there watching that game, and here comes the Lakers getting all the calls. And they shot like a dumb number of free throws in the fourth quarter alone. And so in that topic, I was bringing up that the Lakers in the last 2 seasons, and it's no exaggeration, go look it up, go Google it. They've shot over 1,000 more free throws in the past 2 seasons than their opponents, which is astronomically high compared to everybody else. Everybody else is more or less like, whatever. And there's some teams out there that shoot a little bit more, but if there was like a chart, the Lakers on is through the roof. And so it's like, hey, well, what's going on? So to me, that was a little collusion going on in the NBA. And over here, it looks like there was more collusion going on for this time, the WNBA. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe the head coach for the Lynx said, hey, we already got 5, or this would have been our 5th championship. You know what I'm saying? We'd be out here. That's their first one. So congrats for them. And I think this was, let's give this Ayasko girl one and Breonna Stewart one. And we can't have another team win it again. It's winner's fatigue. So to me, I feel like there was a little collusion going on for the Liberty to get their first championship, for these 2 superstars for the Liberty to have that on their resume, because they would have, it seems like they would have lost it any other kind of way. And to address Candace Parker's statement, we all know how the game go. I get it. So it was a bad call against you, big whoop. At least you get overtime, beat them in overtime if you really want to win it. But everybody saw the travel and everybody saw the marginal contact. And on top of that, everybody sees the large discrepancies that went on throughout the entire series. So for me, this seems like league politics, and it seems like the Lynx had to fall on the sword. So, and the way this thing works is, once we start looking at, titles and stuff like this game is going to be lost in history. Much like how the Lakers did the Kings. People can bring that up, but everybody's also going to bring up the championships the Lakers won that year as well. So yeah, man, rough business, man. But it looks like they brought the collusion over to the WNBA just when people started getting interested.
Well, that's why the collusion is there, because people are getting interested. So yeah, the Lynx won in 2011, 13, 15, and 17. So they've won 4 championships all time. The last one that they won was in 2017. So there's that for reference. I mean, my thing is, welcome to the big time WNBA. This is what you asked for. That's my point with all this, because the big leagues, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, there's always a specter of cheating around those leagues.
Yeah.
Because they're so big and the money-making implications for them are so wide-reaching that any kind of result, especially when there's a controversial officiating call or a referee does something weird, there's always speculation that something was set up in order for there to be a particular design result. And it's because of the big money and the gambling implications and all of that for those various leagues. And so that those are the big time money makers in American sports. And so I say to the WNBA, this is what you wanted. You got what you asked for. Y'all wanted to be bigger. Y'all wanted to be more renowned, get on a bigger stage, have a bigger platform, get bigger ratings, get the bigger contracts. Y'all want more resources. Y'all want the more eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want more people to watch and appreciate, even though when those people come, you complain about it, which is weird. But
yeah.
but this is what the WNBA wanted. So with the additional notoriety, with the additional corporate sponsorships, with the additional corporate partnerships, with the influx of new capital that will start coming into the WNBA, I would say within the next 3 to 5 years, because it takes a while. You know, when TV negotiations are up, when the media rights for the WNBA are, when it's time for media rights for the WNBA to be negotiated, they're going to fetch a higher price point, I would say, because the WNBA is headed into a direction of being a self-contained revenue generator. Kudos to you. But there's also going to be some negative things that come along with that, which is increased referee scrutiny and the idea that there may be some weird stuff going on with the result of big games. So welcome to the club, WNBA. This is what you wanted. I hope you're happy, because none of this is going to go away. Now there is going to be controversy after controversy whenever a referee blows a whistle in any game, let alone a championship series. So that's my takeaway from this whole thing. The WNBA has been complaining for years and years and years. In my opinion, it has been unwarranted. Now it is starting to become more warranted. And as the steam picks up, so is the rest of this speculation and controversy. So it all goes hand in hand. In my opinion, you can't have one without the other. Whenever there's a weird pass interference call in college football, whenever a referee calls a weird charge block in the NBA, whenever any of this weird stuff happens, defensive holding in the NFL, you know what I'm saying? Weird stuff like this, and people get mad or upset because a parlay got ruined, or there was right, or what was the line in Vegas, and whoa, my oh my, it was exactly what Vegas said it would be, even though there was a controversial call. Now it's coming your way too. So buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, hey, well said, man. I didn't even really think of that angle. I guess in the back of my mind, I thought about that, but yeah, that's a good point. As far as like all the interest and everything that's getting involved with it now, it's like, now granted, it's also probably a reason that, you know, people probably paying attention to it now. They probably did this 7 years ago, but nobody gives a damn. There's also that angle. All right, but at the same time, you raise a good point that with all of these interests and all of this stuff getting involved, probably more people, well, I know more people betting on this stuff and things of that nature, then yeah, things are going to start getting a little wonky. Now, you know, there's conspiracy theories floating out there with my hurricanes, but I won't entertain those. I won't entertain those, man. We had another call this week, but his arm was going forward. I'll tell you that. His arm was going forward, damn it. And that boy did not catch the ball at Virginia Tech. And that wasn't targeting at Cal. All right. But yeah, man, we got our conspiracy theories floating around too, man. And you know, I get it. I get it, man. It's whenever there's big money out there, like you said, you know, things can get a little interesting. Try watching a Chiefs game nowadays, man. It is absolutely ridiculous. All right. And I think we talk about this off the record, but it's similar to the Patriots games back in the day, where it's like, y'all went in the booth, clearly saw that happen, and said it was inconclusive, you know? And they'll say whatever the hell, and they don't care if all the fans noticed it or not. And so, yeah, the WNBA, yeah, welcome to the big leagues. That's a good way of putting it, in the sense of, hey, man, what happened to our sacred sport? It's over. When money gets involved, sanctity is out the window. So all y'all hooping and, you know, we respect the integrity of the game ain't got no integrity for y'all. I'll tell y'all that, man. So I guess congratulations, Liberty. You know what I'm saying? The first winner of the sweepstakes that's going on with the WNBA, because they might try to start spreading the wealth to get other markets involved. That's probably another reason why. You know what I'm saying? Because we need the New York market. That's probably what the hell that. The hell with you, Minnesota.
Right.
We already got 4. So let's let New York get it, because we need that New York money. Boy, I swear. You can't do nothing with these clowns. Golly. And then here comes, hey, I guess that's the theme of the show, man. Token company lines, because here comes Candace Parker with the narrative talking point of, hey, man, it's just a bounce to the ball, baby.
She's gonna do that because she's still in the media. She still works for Turner.
Hey,
so
man, I guess
she's gonna be calling. Yeah, she calls games. So you can't be out here calling games in the media and then, you know, adding gasoline to the speculation fire. Like, you can't be doing that. So I get her response. I get her response. It is what it is. But yeah, welcome WNBA. Because this is what every other major money-making popular sport in this country has been experiencing for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Is nothing but controversy and speculation.
Man,
so
be careful what you ask for, baby.
Yeah, purity is over with. So I hope you're ready. Just buckle up, man.
Damn.
Buckle up. Shouts out to Candace Parker, man. Oh, God. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, another fantastic stream in the books. We are getting ready to roll up out of here, man. But be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel via the Post Talk video uploads. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the commentary in any of those videos. We certainly appreciate the engagement. Shouts out to some of the people who joined in on the chat. Once again, MBG Gaming, Max Payton, Uta Block, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate the engagement. And check out some of these other videos for some of the other spotlights that you may have missed throughout the stream. Check us out on Instagram at Conapproach, CONAPPROACH. I am also on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Be on the lookout as we continue to upload all of our episodes so that you can get the audio versions wherever you get your podcasts. We certainly appreciate it. NBA season is kicking off, man. It's a bad year for me. This is a bad year sports wise. Seminoles are 1-6. The Dolphins are 2-4, and Tua's coming back. Stay safe, bro. So all I got left is the Heat, and hopefully we do something with that, man. But until next time, as I always like to say, ladies and gentlemen, keep your head up, unplug from the matrix, think for yourself, have a mind of your own. And until next time, we appreciate you. We can't wait to see you on the next video. And I'm out.
And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS. and YouTube, TikTok, DraftKings. Man, somebody send me an invite at DraftKings so I can take your Skrilla. Boy, I'm too real at that thing, man. Oh, you think you better? Send the invite, man. Dogon_SS over there as well. And as I say on every pod, guys, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot. R.I.P. to Mutombo. Shout out to Hardaway. R.I.P. to Sean Taylor, y'all. Go Kings and go Rattlers. We'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time. Peace, baby.
Go Kings. Beat those no.